Hey, welcome everybody to the Rum and Coke Night Sycophant edition, because we all a bunch of sycophants, because that's what we do on YouTube. Anyways, I've got the link out to a lot of people. A lot of people ask me for the link, and then they wait to the very last minute to either come in or wait till it starts, and then they decide to pop on in. I'm not putting the link out in the G Plus community, obviously, for reasons, because I'm paranoid, because people use that link and they do bad things with it because I'm paranoid. So I am not going to be putting out that link publicly. However, if you would like to come in, please message me directly and I will give you the link to join us. I've given it out to, I think, 6 people, I think, so far, give or take. And so far, only one has come in. So, we'll see how it goes. It is Rum and Coke night. I'm having cranberry with a little bit of brandy for flavoring, which is basically brandy with cranberry for a little bit of flavoring. Yeah, half full, half empty. How do you want to look at it? I don't know. So I got Wayne Fillmore in here. And actually, we were just talking about some really cool stuff off air. So I kind of want to continue that real quick if I can, because, and I got Michael Ringrose coming in. You guys have not met him yet. He's from the debate community too. So he'll be popping in. But one, I just found out, hey, Ring, can I tell you a super secret thing that you just told me that off air that you saw?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Go
because
ahead.
you said not to tell anybody because it's super secret, and you know how that works, right? So can I tell him?
Oh, you talking about the yeah. Go
Yeah.
ahead, sure. Yeah.
Wayne has a super secret that I can't talk about, but he has. Well, I'm going to tell you. I am going to talk about it. He has a girlfriend. Yay! And she's a girl.
Duh.
This is a good thing. I mean, I'm not trying to judge Wayne. I'm really not. If he wants to go, try out different things, God bless him. Experiment. You're young. College days. I get it, right? But no, and then I had asked, because I'm just kind of curious, because I said, she's black. And by the way, is she black, Wayne? You said,
yeah, she's black. I mean,
she's black. And black is beautiful. God, black is beautiful. It's okay to be white, but black is beautiful. And he had asked me if I ever dated a black chick, and I said no. I mean, I've never gone out with a black chick or did anything with a black chick, except there was one minor exception, and it's a funny story. So let me tell you guys a story while we get people in here, if they actually click on that link that I sent to them, if not whatever. And so I was telling him that I was on a business trip once, and this was several years ago, back when I had less hair and actually probably weighed about 20 pounds heavier than I do now, because I was probably pushing 40-inch waist or more. And so I was at this business trip, and there was another girl there on the convention, and we were in a hotel, and we were just talking about stuff, and this happened to come up, and I said, and she was really cute. I was a little flirting with her a little bit throughout the last couple of days, and she had asked me, I ever dated a black girl, and I was like, no, of course I would, and I said I had never even kissed a black girl, and she leaned over and planted one on me, and she said, you can't say that anymore now. I was like, okay, works for me, so. That was my funny story, because it was awesome, because like I said, she was really cute. Been flirting with her for several days, and because I think we were there for the business trip for 4 days, so that was pretty nice. So anyways, the other thing we were talking about, Wayne, you had another amazing experience that actually is one of my favorite topics.
Literally out of this world.
you got abducted by aliens and got anally probed.
Yeah, they probed me, and now they're making another Wayne somewhere in another universe.
Yeah, okay, I get it. It's like the Wayne. There's multiple Waynes, and you're just one of many in a multiverse.
Boom, there
got
you go. I had a really crazy experience. I had a lucid dream, and it was. All I can say is because I've been getting really big into the science and stuff like that. I'm more of a naturalist. I would never say this universe is all there ever is and stuff like that. But I mean, if you don't deal with anything like lucid dreaming or anything that's out of the ordinary on a daily basis, you don't really take it into consideration much.
Mm-hmm.
So I can definitely get how people can say stuff like, I don't believe in a God, I don't believe that there's anything else there, I don't believe in aliens, but it was really weird. It was as clear as how I'm talking to you right now at this moment. That's how visually clear it was. I mean, it was hard to distinguish between the dream and reality.
I've had them on my lap. I wrote something about lucid dreaming on the Great Debate Community webpage that we actually have on the blog too. And yeah, I've had I haven't had one for quite some time. I had a minor one the other day, but not through the experience that you've had in probably at least a year or two. But you're right. When you're in a very lucid state and you are in that, and you're in that state, you say, look, I know that I'm in the lucid state or dreaming or whatever. It is tangible. It is physical. You have tactile sensation. You can see vivid colors. You can see things. You can talk to people. You can interact with them. And here's what I've always thought was kind of odd. And I'm not advocating this is anything more than just what's in the brain. I'm not saying dualism. I'm not saying, some other realm exists. I kind of believe there are naturalistic explanations for things. But what I find to be interesting is that you're having conversations with yourself in the lucid dream, which is kind of the definition of, delusional. Oh, wait, I am delusional, I guess. So forget about that. I'm delusional. So I have conversations with myself because I have lucid dreams and talk to myself. So you're delusional. But that's what it is, right? I mean, you're literally talking to yourself, right?
Yeah.
But how does the brain do that? How does the brain come up with a second part of the conversation? I don't
know.
You can make the argument the brain is so complicated that there must have been an intelligent designer for it. Or like, that's somebody else's argument. But I mean, it still is amazing that the brain is an amazing piece of machinery. The fact that your brain fills in these blanks, whether you have sensory deprivation, because I've noticed when I do a lucid dream and I can actually induce them or have been able to do some before. Usually it helps to have sensory deprivation, dark lights, warm, comfy, situation, nice recliner or something, earplugs. And so your brain seems to want to fill in that stimuli. Right. And so is that something you think that is an evolutionary remnant? Do you think that's something from evolution where the brain says, hey, look, I'm half awake, half asleep, and I need to fill this thing in with some kind of recognizable data, but how does your brain do it so efficiently?
I don't know. I mean, I can't tell. Are there people who study stuff like this?
Oh, well, I'm sure there is, obviously. Secret Sock account says a good thing. He actually makes sense here. He says, no, and by the way, the live chat's going crazy. No, you're not literally talking to yourself, Steve McCrae. You don't literally talk when you dream. That's a good point. That's a very good point. You're not literally talking. All right. So it's worse now. Now, Secret Sock account. Now you're saying that you're imagining yourself talking to an imaginary person. How much more worse is that now? I mean, let's think about this. I mean, you're now literally saying that, oh, wait, you're imagining yourself having an imaginary conversation with an imaginary person. Interesting.
Very, very weird.
Well, a Secret Sock account says, no, you're dreaming when you're talking about talking to yourself. Yeah, of course you're dreaming, but you're dreaming about yourself talking to an imaginary person. So
you're skitzing. You're going crazy.
Yeah. Max Shepard, aka Sarah, says, "Hey Steve, why does everybody hate you now?" Well, if everybody hates me, then I don't know. I don't have sycophants then. So that kind of destroys any narrative that I have sycophants if everybody hates me. You can't. I don't know how you have both. You can't have everybody hate you and have sycophants at the same time. It's kind of weird. There's a weird dichotomy there. Anyways, people are telling me, "Oh, we'll be in." So I'm kind of holding off to that. Let's see here. 1 second here. I'm being paged. What else has been going on with you, Wayne? Fill this in while I type to somebody real quick.
Oh yeah, but yeah, going back to the dream. So what's funny was I just got done watching Spider-Man: Homecoming. That was a really good movie too. If you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. I don't know if it's on Netflix yet or what, but Spider-Man: Homecoming, I give it like 8.5 out of 10. It was a good movie. Anyway, just got done watching that. Lay down and I'm sleeping. And 1 minute, I close my eyes and like I'll say maybe like a couple seconds later, maybe even a few minutes later, because you go through different phases of sleep. It's like REM sleep, such and such sleep, and then you go into deeper sleep stages of sleep. And then you finally get into your little dream state. So all I know is I open up my eyes per se, because I didn't literally open up my eyes, but in the dream my eyes open up, and I'm in a house. I'm in this really big, beautiful house, and it's sunshine outside, and I can see the sun. I can see the sunshine through the windows of the house. Now, in reality, it had to be about like 9:30 at night where I'm at. But in the dream, it's daytime. The sun is out. The cloud, no clouds in the sky. Uh, there was like some type of like green pasture, some type of green lawn outside the house, and I realized that this is a dream. I realized, oh my gosh, like I'm like in reality, I'm sleeping in my bed at home, but I also understand that I'm dreaming and I'm inside this mansion. And so I decided to go explore. And I'm walking up the stairs to this house, and it's still hitting me that this isn't real. None of this is real. So I make it to the top of the steps, and I think I saw somebody, and their back was turned to me. I'm trying to remember. I should have wrote it down. And their back was turned to me, and all I know is I woke up after that, and it was so surreal because it was just as real as I'm talking to you right now. And I may have had something similar like that happen before, but just for it to reoccur again, and just for it to come back to your remembrance, you're like, man, I can't help but think maybe there is something out there. Maybe those religious people are right.
Well, I mean, it's the argument that can be made that there's obviously something going on, right? When it comes to lucid dreaming, I don't think it extends to what people call astral projection, right? I don't believe in actual projection. I don't think you're physically leaving your body when that happens. But I do think it's very interesting that the mind does create this alternate reality in your head. And I don't know what the evolutionary advantage of it is. And I asked that one time to actually PZ Myers, and he's had them before, and he's like me. He thinks there's a naturalistic explanation, but it was on Twitter, so I really did get a huge response of why there seems to be a naturalistic explanation for lucid dreaming. But maybe he might do a video on these one of these days. Maybe somebody who's into biology or psychology or neurology might say, "Hey, look, here's some evolutionary reasons why we have lucid dreaming." Because I found out that only a handful of people in the population actually have it.
Really?
I think the last number I looked at was like 6 to 9% generally have lucid dreaming regularly. More people at least have at least one in their life, but those who do it regularly is only about 6 to 9% or something, if I remember correctly.
Oh wow. Well, I don't think the science behind it would negate any type of like spiritual religious understanding or anything like that. But it's like you said, it's interesting. It would be interesting to find out why we have them in the first place. That would be really good to know.
Well, I mean, what is the reason we have them? I mean, I gotta tell you, I like them only for the fact that they are an experience. There's something different, right? And they are, I hate to say it's escapism because they don't last very long. I mean, most of the time, I don't think I've ever had one last more than maybe a minute or two. Although sometimes I can seem like they're a whole lifetime.
Right.
Have you had one like that before? Where, I mean, like, the whole thing, the whole drama plays out. Like I remember one. That was like,
I've had one where I knew I was dreaming and I was trying to wake myself up, but I wouldn't wake up, and that felt like it was a lifetime, like I was trapped in my dream.
yeah, it's surreal, and yet you think to yourself, I know I'm in a lucid state, but what about the reality you left behind? Because when you do wake up and you notice your familiar surroundings, first you have to get your bearings. And then it's like you feel like you've been taken out of the actual world and put into this other world. And people are going to say, "Oh, look at Steve, simulation theory. Steve now believes we live in a matrix." Go ahead. I'm already being used to this being misquoted and taken out of context and not given principle of charity. So, people can say now I believe in simulation theory. Or worse, I believe in holographic theory. So they're going to take that out of context, go, "Oh, Steve accepts holographic theory, therefore he thinks he's in the matrix." Yeah, you know how that works. But anyways, hey, look who we just got popped in here. Michael.
Hey, Steve, how are you? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine. You are a new Sycophant. Thank you very much. But you've been around for a little bit. We've been trying to arrange some kind of things between our groups, but you go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody and what you do as far as your group, and let people know who you are if you can.
Yeah, definitely. So my name's Michael Ringrose. I been part of the Great Debate community for probably a little less than a year, maybe even less than that. But basically, I've been following you guys, and you bring a wonderful scientific perspective to debating. And I started kind of my own group on Facebook, and it kind of took off. And so That's a little bit about me. I'm actually personally, I'm a business major, so that's kind of my scope. That's what I discuss a lot, and I debate a lot on is with business and a little bit of psychology and stuff like that. I get into, but I try to. I'm not very well versed in science, so I've learned a lot from just participating in the GDC.
Yeah, and by the way, you do know I'm not a scientist, right? I've never been a scientist. I enjoy science. I have a little bit of a science background, but it's not something that I'm like well versed in as opposed to the people that are actually scientists and people that actually read a lot about science. It's just a topic that I enjoy. I think Wayne here is actually getting a lot more into science than I.
Yeah. So, I didn't know that, Steve. By listening to you, I thought you were a scientist. I know you've mentioned a couple times in your videos that you've been to a nuclear, I think it was a nuclear power school, but I'm not positive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I've learned a lot just listening to you. So
I appreciate that. I noticed you just left a nice comment on that video. That was when I was talking to Eric Joel, which I ain't gonna lie is one of my. Oh wait, I lie all the time. Who am I kidding? I'm a liar. Sorry. No, I like that video. That is actually one of my favorite videos. It's a love-hate, right? Because I actually can't stand talking to Eric Joel. I mean, he is just so ridiculously dumb. It's hard to even have a conversation with him. But at the same time, when you finish it with it, it's like, holy crap, that was a good video. That was enjoyable, right? People actually liked that video.
Yeah, I was taken back by it. Just the consistent interruption and how you handled yourself, showing composure and patience. I think patience was a huge factor in that debate, and because you were constantly interrupted when you were trying to state your case, I would have had a hard time with that.
Well, when you deal with a lot of those people like that, it happens. Like, did you watch the flat Earth discussion that we had the other day?
I did, yeah.
Okay, so it was tough to handle all those types of personalities, and I can't go into details about things, because I keep things private, because I mean that's how I am, right? Because I do behind the scenes stuff, which actually is very true. I do a lot of stuff behind the scenes, but we are arranging another flat Earth thing, and it's going to be huge. The 250 viewers I had listen to that one, going to be nothing. It's going to be several thousands and thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, maybe possibly millions. I don't know. No, okay, maybe that's much. But we are making another hangout with something going on. So that's going to be huge. Hopefully,
nice.
We're going to have part two. Let's put it that way. In one way or another, we'll have part two.
That would be great.
But yeah, the thing with the drill was that he's been in Facebook groups for a while, and he what he does is he jumps into a group, he prods people and says, hey, let's go to my channel and have a debate. And then once you go to his channel, he just talks over you, mutes you, and stuff like that. Now, I've been aware of him for a very long time. He's and I has crossed paths before, so that's his shtick, though. So what do you do in your debate community? How do you, well, first of all, how many members do you have, and how do you kind of like go about things in it?
So that's a good question, Steve. Currently I have a little over 1,000 members. We actually just hit that today. I have about 747 active members as of today. And we, we're not science-based, but I encourage anybody from any walk of life or, any educational background to join, because that's what makes a debate group credible. So I invite everybody to kind of join in, because that's what's going to give everybody a different perspective. And that's the entire purpose of debating, right? Is so that we can be open-minded and be open to different ideas and be willing to learn. I mean, because if you're sitting there arguing with somebody, sure, you can have different views, but in order to really understand what somebody else means or where they're coming from, it's good to have people with a background in that specific field that you're discussing. So that's what I'm doing right now. We've grown substantially. I've got a great team. I think I sent you the video. I've got a great team of creative people. My brother being one of them. He's very artistic. He does a lot of editing, and he created this trailer to kind of advertise us and whatnot. But I didn't honestly expect it to get this big this fast, so it's been fun.
Yeah, I mean, and it's great there's other communities out there doing stuff like this. I mean, everybody has their own little things they prefer. I do prefer the science, the religions, philosophy, and when we started this G Plus group, it was kind of a consensus that was the three topics we wanted to talk about. People didn't want to talk about politics, and I honestly didn't want to either. And then just recently, I asked people, people have been coming to me that wanted politics. I let it, be to the group. Do you want politics? And they said, yeah. Well, it was barely yes. And even then, after I started the politics section, people were like, let's kind of, we take a revision to this, and see, or revisit it and see if that we should. But the moderations have been excellent on it. Jim and a few other people have been moderating, and it's been fine. So the politics didn't go south as I had initially expected it might, and that's good, because when you're dealing with politics and religion or theology, that's not a good mix. So you tend to just stick with the more political type stuff?
So no, we have, unfortunately, Facebook won't let me categorize like Google Plus did. I moved my group from Google Plus to Facebook, and it won't let me categorize it right now. They're very like hands in. Facebook is with letting you categorize or create different subheadings of like what you want your categories to be. Because a lot of the groups on there are like yard sales. So this is a little different. A lot of people aren't doing debate stuff. There's only a couple other groups that I know of that are really successful doing it on Facebook. And we discuss a variety of different things. So from anything from politics to science. But unfortunately right now, when we do get into science or anything having to do with physics or anything like that, like, does time have a beginning or deep questions like that? We need to have an audience that has they're credible members in the audience. When you're discussing science, you have to have facts and data, and you have to back up what you're saying. So hopefully eventually we'll get there. And the goal is obviously to be eventually globally recognized, because debates can lead to change and positive influence. So that's the ultimate goal. I don't put a buffer on the topics that we're going to discuss. I just hope that eventually we'll have enough experts in there to handle every topic.
Yeah, and I'm definitely somebody who's not very knowledgeable about politics. I have a very tertiary level of understanding. I just know enough to get me by, right? I mean, because you live your life and you see various presidents. I mean, I've lived through Reagan, I've lived through Carter, I've lived through Obama, Clinton. And now this Cheeto guy, what's his name? Starts with a T, Trump or something?
Trump.
Yeah, okay. Orange is the new black, people. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I mean, people know that I was not a Hillary fan before the election, right? And I was like, anybody but Hillary was the motto. I never once said I would vote for Trump. I was not going to go out running vote for Trump, and I never once said he would be a good president. I said let the world burn. But I got to tell you, even I had no expectations of how bad he would really be, how little he understands things like foreign or domestic policy, how he understands. I mean, he can't even understand a briefing or a report. And then his whole policy is on Twitter.
That's an issue
on Twitter.
I have one political science major in the group that handles my political debates right now, because I am not qualified to speak on a lot of it, but I agree with you that there's better ways to handle projecting an idea, especially as a leader of the United States, than Twitter. I would agree.
Yeah, I mean, Twitter's supposed to be like an outlet. It's a personal thing, just to get quick messages out. I do like the fact they went to the 280 character limit over 140. Yeah, I do. Because the 140 was a pain in the ass, because you wanted to write something, and every single freaking time, oh, you're 2 characters over. Fuck you.
I agree.
Yeah. And now what happened? You know what's happening now? Now I have 282 characters, and I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah, you can't get your point across in that many characters if you're intelligent at all. That's almost impossible.
Oh, I did have one tweet that actually made a news service, a newswire picked it up, and
Really?
it was yeah, it was on Trump too, and it was something along the lines like remember when Trump was taking credit for the fact that nobody had died in like a plane thing in like the last year or since he's been in quote charge, right? So I had a
I
tweet that
do.
said something. Yeah, I had something like, fun fact. Since Trump has been in office, no humans in America have ever died from a meteorite strike, a gamma ray burst, or spontaneous combustion. Got hundreds and hundreds of likes.
Steve, I can't argue with you that.
It's a fact. It's a fact. It's a fun fact. It is true.
It is.
You know, I'll debate anybody on that. If somebody wants to come on in and they want to debate me that somebody has died in America due to a meteorite strike or spontaneous combustion or gamma ray burst, I'm down for that. Let's do it.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I got into with debating recently was one of the good debates I had was the effect social media is having on people's judgment and their opinions. So people are forming these opinions based on things they're seeing on social media without doing any independent research.
Well, yeah, that does happen. Can I ask you though, when you say independent research, what do you mean by research? What is entailed by research? Because we all say, oh, well, I typed in this in Google. I don't know if that reaches the level of standard of what I call research.
So I would agree with you, Steve. It's not just Googling something. It's making sure that your sources are cited. A lot of them, you want to check for cited accreditations. You want to see who wrote the articles, and you want to make sure that, they have, some kind of facts backing up what they're saying throughout the articles. It's tricky now to look at an article online and decipher whether or not that it's going to be credible. And that's a major issue that we're having. A lot of people will click on something and they'll immediately think that it's fact. And that's not the case.
Yeah. And by the way, I wasn't ever trying to put it out there that you didn't do proper research,
Sure.
So, by the way, I just invited somebody in here that is a Trump supporter, so maybe we'll get somebody who wants to advocate for Trump. That's always fun.
All right. This will be fun.
Well, I do like the fact that you can only talk about theology, philosophy, or science so much, and sometimes you got to bring in other subjects. And I what's funny is people wanted the primary three things on the G+ community, right? But on the Great Debate community page, that other video channel that we have, link is in the video description. Go sign up for it, or go subscribe to it. And if you want to be a manager of it, where you can run your own hangouts like people have doing on it, great. But on that, they always could talk about politics. They could talk about anything they want, right? So it's just that in the G+ community, you want to narrow down to certain things, right? But people do want to have other places you can go to talk, or at least in other sections. So I created the lounge section, and then people can just do whatever the hell they want in that section. It makes it very difficult if there's no structure of where it's compartmentalized. So some people will just want to talk about science, so they can filter that and they just go, okay, science, and they just see the science post if they want.
Yes.
Secret sock account noted that a person was killed by a meteor in 2016 in India. Good thing I said only in America. Trump is president of America, not India. I do know a little bit about politics, at least that much, right? George Mayer says, is there any way Shannon Q could talk with a flat earther? I think we could gain more info on why flat turds think the way they think. Oh, yes, George. That is happening actually this Thursday. Should I give the name? Because I love to keep my secrets. Should I keep the name secret, or can I divulge it? Oh, decisions. What do you guys think? Do you guys want to know? You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it.
I'm down to know.
You're not gonna know who she is. I don't think. Okay, Silly Samson asks who. Somebody asked me. So you know what? They asked me, I'll tell them, because that's the way it works. Like I've said from the beginning, ask me, and I'll tell you. Most time in private, but I'll tell you anything you want to know. Except things sexually, because I'm embarrassed in that department. But whatever. Yeah, no, it's going to be Rose Patton. Yeah. Oh, we got a little bit of lag, obviously, between us and the live chat, but let's see the response when they hear that name. Do you know who that is, Michael?
Say that again.
Rose Patton.
Well, my name's Ringrose, so I don't want to say no, but I can't see anything other than our chat, so I don't know.
One person says, "LOL, Rose." And I think, what's the 2016 before? When did Trump take office? Anybody remember? Was that 2016?
It was 17, I think.
I think it was 17. I think that's before Trump took office. 2016 is well before Trump took office. Secret Saga account.
Yes, that's correct.
So yeah, that's it's. How could Trump take, since he's been in office for the last year? Right, the last year is what I said in the tweet. 2016 doesn't count for that. But
right.
All right. But I like the fact that they're questioning me on that. Because we all like to to question and point out myopic detail, because that's what we all do, I guess. So when did he? January 20th, George said. That's when he took office, January 20th, 2017. That sounds about right. Yeah, I think that I'm going to go with that, George, because the election was in November and then he took office in January, right?
Yep.
Is that right? Okay.
George, I think George is correct there.
Oh, now you want to drop in, Wayne. Go ahead. You're back.
Oh yeah, because I was reading stuff. But speaking of politics, who was that young woman who she made a video and she used her EBT card or her food stamp so she could get a lobster and feed it to her dog and all that stuff?
College girl. We had her the other day. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now Trump is about to pass something, or he's working on getting something passed where they're going to do it with food stamps, and they're going to start giving people meals.
They're going to give them what?
Like real, like they're going to start.
Meals.
Like wheeling out and delivering meals. Yeah, like food to people instead of food stamps.
But what's funny is that
some people are thinking,
in some places it's actually illegal to feed the poor, the homeless.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm not kidding. You can't go into a place, buy something, and give it to somebody on the outside. You can get a ticket or arrested for that.
Is it really, Steve?
Yes.
What?
Yes, wow. People have actually been fined for this, and in one case, not too long ago, one person actually was told they cannot buy the food there because they had told them they want to buy it for the person outside, and they said you can't do that. They actually refused to sell it to them, and I guess the employee got chastised for that. But yeah, this does happen.
Wow,
That's crazy. Because I just had a question about that. Can you justify feeding, the homeless or whatever, or panhandlers, as I worded it? So that's interesting.
I think we have a lot of dumb laws on the books, but that has got to be up there. And I understand the reasoning for it. They don't want people loitering out the outside because it's a business. But for God's sake, have we lost our humanity as a whole?
Right.
I mean, I don't know who can make up such a thing where they'd be like, let's make a law where you can't feed somebody. I can understand saying you can't be outside playing the drums. Get that, right? But
it's ridiculous. It really is.
Hey, Tommy, I gave you the link to come in if you want to come in, Tommy, because he's a Trump fan.
Speaking of which, Steve, who do we have right now on air? So I know who we're talking with. I'm not sure.
Oh, you haven't met Wayne?
No.
No, Wayne Fillmore.
Wayne. That's
yeah. Give it away, Wayne. Tell him about yourself. I already know about you. We go too far back.
I'm just the guy.
He's just a sycophant.
Who knows a guy?
Just sycophants. That's all we are. I'm his sycophant. I'm a big Wayne supporter. I get a lot of crap for that because he's a theist, but he's an ex-Young Earth creationist, and we debated a long time ago. And I really hate telling the story anymore because people kind of burned out on it. But the debate was, a good debate, and he did an honorable thing. He took what I said and he looked into it. It was on Mac Revolution. And he came back and realized that I had been correct on it. And he was like, yeah, evolution is a real thing. And he left Young Earth creationism and became a sycophant.
But isn't that how debate should be run though? That's how people should do debates. Like even you know what? I saw the debate between what's the guy's name, Emperor Atheist and Kent Hovind, and I mean Emperor Atheist, he was laying down some real facts, and it's sad to say Kent Hovind will never look into it. He'll never reconsider his position. But if you do a debate with somebody and you're not willing to accept that you're wrong, then why are you even debating the topic?
What's funny is you were a fan. I mean, you're not even a fan. You were actually you actually knew Kent in real life, right? Did you meet him?
Yeah.
Was you friends with him? Yeah. We were at his compound.
What do you say? You broke up.
Were you at his compound?
No, I wasn't as a compound, but Wyatt met him in
I know
real
Wyatt.
life. But me and Ken, we used to have some. Yeah, we used to have some phone conversations every now and then. So that's the closest Kent and I ever got.
Yeah, I know he was upset though when you told him that you no longer believed his bullshit, right?
Oh yeah, and after that we had a debate. So General Han Solo and myself, we debated Kent, and of course he lost, of course. But it's sad because there's a whole lot of people following him, and like I said, when they find out that the stuff isn't true, then they'll say, well, maybe the whole thing, maybe the whole theist thing isn't true, maybe the whole God thing isn't true, and they lose their faith.
Yeah.
So speaking of which, could I ask you two a question about that?
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
So I identify as an agnostic, right? And that's because I don't believe necessarily that there's enough evidence for me personally to believe that there's a higher being or a deity or a God. But I do know that there's sometimes, like if you're praying or something like that, because I grew up Christian, that there's that feeling of serenity or some kind of feeling. But I believe that can tie into psychology with our subconscious. So I struggle with understanding everything because there are so many holes you can punch in biblical text and history and whatnot. So I struggle with the whole concept, but I identify as an agnostic. So what kind of agnostic would I be? That's my question.
Well, now you're in my territory, and this is I'm sorry. This is the part of the Rum and Coke night where everybody is going to go away. So all the 50 some odd people we have watching, they're going to be going, what the hell? No, we're not going to be talking about this very long. Promise, people, don't go nuts. 2 minutes tops. So just go. Now's the time. If you're watching this live, go take a pee. Go pee. Okay. I'm an agnostic. Okay. I'm a temporal agnostic, meaning that I suspend judgment on the proposition of theism. Right. I don't accept that God does not exist, and I don't accept that he does exist. I have a non-evaluation approach. Some people could say that I don't know approach, or fence sitting, whatever. And that's fine. It's taken me a long time to get to that position. And I think it's, for me, it's work. It's epistemically sound. But, I don't care what people self-identify as. People tell me, oh, Steve, you're an atheist. Fine. Well, if you want to believe, that's fine. I know that I'm not. I had an interview with Seth Andrews from The Thinking Atheist the other day on our podcast. It was splendid. It was great. And the video is on the Non Sequitur Show channel. I think the link is in the video description. If I forgot to put it in any one of my videos, you can go find the Non Sequitur Show on YouTube, and it has us interviewing Seth Andrews from The Thinking Atheist, and also downloadable on iTunes. And he was great, very nice guy. And he just said, "You look at Steve. I have my own definition. You have yours. I can think that you're an atheist in my head, but I respect you calling yourself an agnostic. I don't think as an atheist, we should tell you that you need to, call yourself an atheist." And I said, "Well, you know what? Conversation's done. We agree. Here we go. That's it. That's all it lasted. There was no reason to spend 5 hours on a definition. Right? There's my 2 minutes.
Yes, I agree, Steve.
Yeah. So there's my 2 minutes on that particular thing. Everybody come back from peeing now?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I'm glad everybody had a good whiz. And by the way, note to people, don't pee in Gatorade bottle. Okay. Yeah, I understand if you're raiding in like World of Warcraft or something, and you're a healer, especially if you're a healer and you're raiding, do what you got to do. I ain't going to judge you, right? Because this is lives on the line when you're trying to kill Jaden or something, right? But if you're just in a hangout, take the time, just stop and go somewhere. The reason I say that, Michael, is that somebody in the community on camera literally peed in a Gatorade bottle and showed it to people.
Oh gosh.
I was wondering, Steve, where you were going, but I was just going to let it roll.
Yeah. So, true story on that. There's actually there's a lot of story behind that. That guy's actually back, Wayne. MK is actually.
Yeah, I know. So remember that hangout I had in reference to the hangout I left, and I said, yeah, that hangout was pretty bad. That was the hangout I was talking about.
Yeah. Somebody had something about Matt Dillahunty. Yeah, Matt Dillahunty is clearly an atheist under any definition. Yes, he's absolutely atheist. We have an interview with him coming up here too. We've also got interviews with Richard Carrier tomorrow. So if you guys are interested in that, if you want to join the conversation with Richard Carrier tomorrow, message me. We'll make that happen. He's been very, very nice to us so far. He's going to be on the podcast on the 28th. And tomorrow, we need to have people come in that want to have a conversation with him. And it could be an atheist or a theist, doesn't matter. But we need to arrange something because the plans that we had with him with a person, which was a lady named S.J. Thomason, I think, fell through because she and him had going back and forth on these blogs, but she had something come up. So we need something else to go on. So if you want to have a conversation with Richard on a particular topic, like maybe the empty tomb argument, let me know. I think Ocean would be really good for that. But we'll see. Ocean Keltorp, you know who he is? Loki Larry says Kill Jaden is a difficult boss. Yeah, no joke, right? Yeah.
I know Han Solo has been he's been arguing with Richard Carrier on Facebook. Did you invite him?
Who?
Han Solo.
Yeah, I did bring it up to him. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah, I invited him.
Hopefully he shows up. It's been hard to get in contact with him lately. He's been doing a lot.
This is the worst time for a Rum and Coke night. As usually like 9 o'clock. People like the Rum and Coke nights like later, like 11 o'clock.
It's 11:52 my time.
Well, I mean my time because it's only 9 o'clock my time. I can't be too loud tonight, so I started it early.
Steve, do you want me to go ahead and try to drop a link into my groups and stuff?
Yeah, drop a link to what though? Yeah, I mean fine, but what drop a link to what?
To the Rum and Coke night, what we're discussing.
Yeah, go nuts. Yeah. Invite
okay, let me see if I can do that on my iPhone 10 without getting disconnected here. You know, I need to have more. I need some people that are more technically inclined than I am helping me with this.
Are you a Luddite? Are you know?
Very possible.
Tommy Hall says I might join once Steve gets drunk. Good luck with that. I don't have that much brandy left. I have a little corn whiskey left. It's like a few drops, and then I have some wine. But see, look, alcohol lasts forever in my place because I don't have a strong stomach, and so like I'll drink like two glasses, and I'm done. I'm done for the night. It doesn't take much to fuck me up, right? Rum and Coke night, I can get fucked up really easy because it doesn't take much. I'm a cheap date. Anybody wants to go out and get me drunk, dude, you'll be spending like $5. Well, why would it be a guy taking me out? Whatever. New narrative. Steve's gay. By the way, I'm actually not. Although I've asked people, how would I go about going gay? And they once they told me how it happens, I said, no, probably not. I don't think it's a good idea for me. Wouldn't work for me. So anyways, he's getting the link for that. Wayne, are you AFK too? Because I'll just turn it over the live chat.
What now?
Oh, well, he's giving out the link to his group. I'm trying to get links out. People,
I don't think I have anybody to give a link to.
No, but I'm saying that why he's doing that. So Tommy said he's going to come in eventually. Max says I'm gay for somebody. I'm gay for pay. Ray says Ray's a village. Steve's gay for pay. How, for $1 million, I might consider certain things. That buys a lot of therapy. And somebody had actually said, but it scrolled up too fast, that they had asked somebody who was critical of Richard Carrier to join, but they didn't or something. Oh, I'll ask this guy David Marshall again and see if he'll show up. I don't know who that is. So, well, it's tomorrow at 2:00 Pacific time, and so, like I said, it's going to be invite only kind of thing. If you want in, that's fine. Just message me, and I just don't want a bunch of haters in there with that, because I know Richard Carrier is one of those people that you either like him or don't like him kind of thing, and I don't have an issue with him. I know some people that do. We're not going to be discussing any of that legal stuff, and it's not appropriate. It's not of any relevance, and I don't want to choose sides on anything like that. If you guys know about the legal stuff that he's involved with right now. So let's see what else has got going on.
I don't think any of that would even matter.
I
mean, I'm familiar with his work.
I'm not really either. Hannah says, Hannah Anderson, no, Richard was critical of Marshall's book. Oh, I got you. Okay. Yeah, I've never read anything by Richard Carrier. I'm not a mythicist, but I told him that mythicism would, I'd be interested in it. Keisler Cannabis Review says Steve McRae spreading misinformation again. Wine goes sour, bro. Yeah, well, actually, I bought this week like 3 weeks ago. So I mean, how long? You know, I don't think the wine went bad in 3 weeks. It's in a box, you know. So, yeah, wine could turn to vinegar after several months or years or so. I know that, but no, this is not that old. But when I get that corn whiskey, that was back when my roommate moved out because we were celebrating, right? So I still have a little bit of that left. Max says,
"Hey, Steve."
Yes. Box wine is classy, Loki. Yes, box wine is very classy. Don't knock box wine. Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
I went ahead and sorry, there's some lag. I went ahead and dropped I went ahead and dropped the link. And we got some people joining. So we should see some traffic coming through. So I'm not sure exactly what we're talking about tonight, but wherever you guys want to take it, I'm down to join. So
okay, so they won't let you drop the link, or is that what's cool? What do you mean?
Yeah, I put the link to your channel and everything and what we're doing here on throughout my group and through Messenger and all that.
Do you think they're going to come in, or anybody come in?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there's a little lag. Do you think that any of your group wants to come on in?
Yeah, well, I think they definitely at least want to come in as the audience. I don't know if they want to come in live or not.
Oh, well, give them both. Give them both.
Okay.
It's fine. We like meeting new people.
Or...
Yeah, anybody can come in. I gave the link to like 7 people, but then each one is like, this link's not working, or I had to go to the store. My dog shat on the floor. Excuses.
Okay, sorry, Steve. Okay, I'll go ahead and let them know that both are available. I'm sorry. It's been a crazy night.
Yeah, no, if you trust them, I trust them. Give them the link, right? I just can't give the link out, in like live chat. I can't give it out on G Plus anymore. So I have to.
I have a law student. I have a law student that's interested in coming in. His name is Steven Zuck. He's a law student in New York City in Manhattan, and if you guys want to discuss anything having to do with any kind of law as far as socialism goes.
Yeah, I'm sure I don't care. Take it where you want to go with it. Rum and Coke night is just wherever it ends up.
All right, let me go ahead and give him the link then, Steve.
Oh, and I'm going to have to post this later, but I might as well announce it now. Friday, excuse me, there's a power outage here. They're going to be doing work on one of the transformers from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., so there's no reason to send the cavalry after me. Although I am grateful for last time because you guys sent over Tiffany, and Tiffany came over to my house, and I was pleasantly surprised by that, which was nice. But yeah, no reason to try to hunt me down because I will be offline literally the entire day from 8 in the morning to 6 at night, no power. So. People are now asking for the links. Hey, Max.
Hi.
Excuse me. First of all, are you drinking anything?
No, I'm folding laundry.
No water, juice?
I was going to get coffee since I'm running off of 2 hours of sleep and I've got an 8-hour shift to go.
Yeah, I like my coffee. You can even do a what's her name? Rain Florence.
There's no alcohol here. I'm at work.
Oh, you're doing your late shift thing, huh?
Yeah. This is all I do. That's why I'm awake during the night.
That must get really boring.
What? Oh, yeah, it can get really boring. Let me tell you. Holy crap. Also, my brain is very confused during the day. It doesn't get tired during the day.
Yeah, I'm like that too because I obviously because of issues I don't sleep a lot, and when I do, I pass out for a very long period of time. But yeah, you're constantly going over things, especially dates. Oh my God, with all these things being planned, I'm like, okay, what do I got going on this day? What do I got going on that day? I don't want to miss anything because I missed one podcast. It wasn't even really missing the podcast. I was missing an interview with Alex Botten, which, by the way, they went ahead and did anyways at another time. I don't really know Alex very well, but yeah, I had like 7-8 people all trying to track me down. I had somebody make a video on the other channel. Steve, where are you?
Hello, hello.
Hey, Stephen, welcome.
That
Thank you.
worried
Good
me,
to be
by the
here.
way.
Well, you worried me? I mean, I worried you, Max?
Yeah.
Don't worry about me.
Seeing a video called Steve, where are you? I was like, oh dear.
Yeah, no, don't look at. Okay, first of all, my roommate has Facebook. If anything ever happened to me, he would put it on there. My ex has Facebook. My baby mama. You guys would know. Trust me.
So this is a rum and coke night today.
It is. Are you drinking something, Steve?
I am actually drinking a 2015 wine that is not filtered from France.
Oh my God, dude, come on over. Come on over. Do you live in California? Start driving now.
Unfortunately, I live in New York.
Ah, man, you're way on the inside.
Yes,
by the
I
way,
am.
Somebody just said, Hannah asked, wait, Botten did an interview? Yes, he did. Yeah, Botten wanted to be a part of our podcast, so we got Alex Botten on our podcast, and it's a segment strictly with Kyle, and then I might do strictly a segment with somebody else for another podcast. I think it's only kind of fair. But who could I interview? Who could be a good one-on-one with somebody for me for my podcast or a podcast?
What is the subject?
Well, our podcast is called the Non Sequitur Show. It's had almost 1,000 downloads so far. Our first episode had 6,000 hits on the video. It was Ken Hovind versus who was it? Ken Hovind versus Dr. Mays.
Okay.
And it was quite popular. It had like 500 downloads alone from iTunes, which I moderated. And
Non-sequiturs.
then we had
it's almost legal jargon.
what's that?
Almost a legal jargon.
What's legal?
Non-sequiturs.
Oh, because okay. And then we had Seth Andrews from Thinking Atheist. And then we also had this guy that came up with an application called Be My Eyes. We had Pam Whistle on from the American Atheist. Very nice. She's going to be back, and she's going to be doing a debate of sorts with. Oh, should I say the name? Can I give the name away? Tell me. You guys have to ask me for the name. You know, ask me. Not that you guys. By the way, if you watch the live feed, we have got a lot of people watching, so I'm talking to a lot of people at the same time.
All right, guys, I'm dropping out. I'm about to call it a night. I'll talk to you guys later.
Yeah. Good night, Wayne. Good night. Thank you for coming by. Does anybody want to know?
Sure.
Okay,
Go
so-
ahead.
so-
I'm game.
It is. She's going to be debating G-Man on do atheists exist?
Wow, that's
And who is G-Man?
Oh my God. Well, that's the problem. I don't want to spend 5
I'm
hours.
sorry, Steve.
Yeah, what did you do to me?
This is where the show might get a little intense.
Oh, now it gets derailed. I love it. G-Man and his, well, he's G-Man. I mean, he thinks he's now officially a young Earth creationist. He's actually come out and said it. He called me up. I'll tell you what. This guy called me up the other day and he said, "Steve, have you heard? There's no more separation of church and state." I was like, what? He's like, yeah, Trump overrode separation of church and state. No, he didn't. Oh yeah. You got to make a video on this, Steve, because if you don't, I'm going to go on air and I'll beat you to the punch. Well, no, G-Man. And he made a video and he goes on air and he talks about that separation of church and state's over. And by the way, I know you got a lot of things, so I'm going to ask about this. And
Listen, I'm live in a debate, so you're not putting that on.
what's that?
I'm guessing my microphone does not mute manually.
I'm guessing it doesn't.
Oh, I'll go ahead and do that through the app. I'm sorry about that.
Sounds good. No, I want to hear more about that conversation. But he was convinced of it, and I haven't had a chance to ask him subsequently if he still thinks that. So has anybody else asked him about that? This in the live chat? I don't think that they have, because nobody in the live chat's saying that they've talked to him about that. No,
I
guess
haven't,
not.
Steve.
I don't think you have either. So, yeah. Raise a Village says, debating G-Man on whether or not atheists exist. Wow, I'd rather pull my own eyeballs out my own eyeballs. Yeah.
So,
no,
Steve,
look, this is going to be a total shit fest. Okay, this is not going to be, in my opinion, something of what I would consider to be a highbrow debate. This is like the editor in chief of American Atheists, which is a group I do have some issues with, but I think overall they try to do good stuff. With G-Man, and so I'm not expecting, like the Matt Dillahunty Saitan Brunicate debate, which was epic.
Epic. That hurt my head, and that was all Saitan's fault for being a fucking idiot.
It was great though. That's one of my all-time favorite debates. So. Oh, did we leave Steve already? Michael, did we run him off?
Steve, it sounds to me like you're still here.
No, he probably dropped his connection, Steve. I'll check in with him.
He's back.
Get him back. Yeah, there he is. See, he probably just dropped connection.
Hey, Steve, if you could hear us. Can you hear us, Steve?
Yeah, give me just 1 second.
Oh, no rush, man. No rush.
No Russian.
No Russian. Yeah, Russian collusion. Somebody left a comment. Somebody left a comment.
So, Steve, can I ask you a question just for the sake of us being on here?
Please, all means.
So I have a lot of respect for your position on like being agnostic and coming. You had talked a little bit about where you came from as far as a religious perspective, and I wanted to ask you why you what made you convert? What were the facts that like changed your perspective on
convert to what? From to a theist or from theism?
From theism to agnostic.
All right. Fair question, obviously. Here's the thing. I never really believed growing up. My family was all over the place. My mom's Jewish, not really practicing, but some cultural stuff. My dad was Protestant. My brother was Jehovah's Witness. We have Lutheran. We have Pentecostal. We have Baptist, Buddhist, whatever. I don't know. We got all kinds of stuff in my family. And it was never an issue. I mean, my dad occasionally liked to give prayer on Thanksgiving, but nothing really major. But I had a lot of Mormon friends, and some people I've raised lately, why I stick up for Mormonism, and I want to make this very clear. I'm not sticking up for Mormonism. Okay, I've made it very clear that I think I don't see any evidence for the archaeological record in South America, the Lamanites, Neophytes. I take a very critical approach on it, and I don't see any of that evidence. Okay, so I want to make that very clear. But just like any religion, right? Unless you have an experience with it, you only go by what you hear, right? When people talk about Catholicism, right? You have people in the community that are Catholic. They'll stand up for Catholicism, whether they're in it or not. They may have left it, but they know the practices. They know some of the more beliefs. They know things that have been something that's been twisted by certain people. And so I just try to clarify the record, right? For example, I'm a staunch believer that if you profess yourself to be a Christian, you're a Christian, right? And if you believe that Christ died and rose from the dead and all that kind of stuff. Now, a hardcore fundamental evangelist will say, no, that doesn't qualify you to be a Christian, even though John 3:16 basically says it is. They have criteria, right? They have criteria that you need to be a Christian. And obviously Mormons, Jehovah's Witness, Seventh-day Advent, anybody that's not their type of Christian, to them is not a Christian. But if you go to any kind of thing out there that's a neutral party, then Mormons, Jehovah's Witness, SDA, all fall under Christianity, right? So I just go by that, which I think is appropriate. So to answer your question, though, I thought I had a religious experience at one time, and I attributed it to the Holy Ghost. And it's a hard thing to get over. Like we were talking about before you guys came in, that we were talking about lucid dreaming. And lucid dreaming is very vivid, right? It's a real experience. And so the experience I had with the quote Holy Ghost was a real experience. I can never say that it didn't happen. What I have to question is, what was the reasoning behind it? What was it, right? Was there a supernatural thing involved? And over time, that has gone away. That convincing of me that that's what it was has diminished, right? But it was a feeling. It was something. There was no question about that. But the problem I have is that people will say, oh, you know what, Steve, I love this, by the way. You guys are listening, right? Because I don't want to talk to myself because then I'm delusional.
Oh, absolutely. We're listening. I'm also Steven, by the way.
What's that, Steven?
Two Stevens in here.
I'm going to call you Steven, and I'm Steve. Although my legal name is Steven. Only my mom calls me that because
just call me Steven.
Call me anything she wants. So, but when I tell people like, oh yeah, well, I thought I hold the Holy Ghost, blah blah, you'd be surprised, and this is funny as hell. They'll be like, well, Steve, you just lost faith. That was God telling you, through the Holy Ghost, blah blah blah, and then I tell them it was during a Mormon blessing. Oh no, that was Satan. It's like, okay. Boy, you jump from one extreme to the other on that one, didn't you?
That is quite extreme. But what I want to bring up is the foundation of every religion and what it means. And ultimately, if you look at every religion from Islam to Christianity, it's all about the afterlife. And one promises you heaven or hell, and the other one promises you an X amount of virgins. And the Indian religion, I believe, gives you a caste system that if you follow your caste and, you know, you do everything right, then the next time when you die and you're reborn, you will be reborn into the higher caste. So I think the biggest thing about religion is really the aspect of afterlife and how they deal and cope with death and what comes after, sort of a way of explaining it. Because you have to admit, to the majority of people, the idea of death and nothing coming after that is a very scary prospect.
I don't fear annihilation too much. I look at it as, before I existed, you can consider that the closest we can understand annihilation as to now, if that's the case, right? So I was not thinking you're going to be noticing. Who the cares? It's like when you're dead asleep, you don't notice you're sleeping unless you're lucid dreaming. But I never had this thing where, I have to believe this or I'm going to hell, right? I was never convinced there was an actual hell. Even the LDS don't preach that there's actually a fiery hell. It's different levels called telestial, terrestrial, and celestial.
Well, before we get to the negatives of religion, really what I want to stick to are the positives, because I think from the people that I've spoken to in my life myself, and for me, I think the biggest fear for most people is to die and there is no continuum. So for them, it's like if, for example, an insect dies or any other biological creature, which, after death, neurological function ceases to exist, and you're simply wiped off of the face of the earth, I think many people find that to be a very scary concept. And religion is where they find comfort for that concept, because it's a promise of a life after death.
Yeah, they feel comfort, but they also do not think that they alleviates their fear. I mean, it's like, I'm going to burn to death for eternity if I don't believe this particular way, which, again, I don't accept. I think that's not what I would believe as a deity that would do such a thing. It makes no sense that you can say, I have an all-powerful, benevolent being, omnibenevolent being, that if you don't believe in him, he's going to punish you for eternity, forever and ever. I think that was added later on as a scare tactic to get people to convert to a very specific religion, or whatever the person telling the person, hey, believe me, or you're going to burn for eternity. That's how I think that came about to me.
Well, okay. I mean, here's one prime example, right, that I have that's on top of my head right now. What makes a suicide bomber do what he does? So, this young man of like 17 years of age straps on a suicide vest, walks into a base and detonates himself. And the main motivating fact for that young man, and I've read a lot of literature in this, is the fact that Islam itself sexually represses people, and the promise of 72 virgins after they die is basically why they do it almost. That promise of a better life after death, and if they martyr themselves, then they are guaranteed to have an X amount of virgins. I don't know if you heard about the pulse shooter that killed over 50 people. Now, I have a friend that intimately studied the Quran and read it, and it might sound really bad to say this, but me and him actually did a calculation together for fun. And considering that it was during an Islamic holiday, when he did the shooting and the way that he died and the amount of infidels he killed, we calculated that this individual would have enough virgins to last him over a decade, to have a new virgin every single day. And that is what that religion preaches. What do you think about this?
No, I definitely think that it's a very cultivated narrative that they put out, because we all love our narratives, right? That they put out this thing where, there is a lot of sexual repression in Islamic. There's no question about that. I mean, you can't even show ankle, right? I mean, you have to be gay. You can't do a lot of things. And maybe that is something where they say, hey, well, do this, and you don't have to be sexually oppressed anymore. You get 72 virgins, which I think is something taking out of the Quran, out of context. From what I understand, I don't know shit about the Quran. I invited somebody who does in just a minute ago, see if she shows, but I don't think that passage even what it says, is it? And if it's 72 virgins, they don't stay virgin for very long, right? I mean, would they? I mean, and I don't know how that would even work.
Well, that is true, but that is why when we did our calculation, he would be able to have a new virgin for every single day of over 10 years.
In their life or in the afterlife?
In the afterlife.
Well, what the hell's 10 years in the afterlife? 10 years to eternity.
Well, I mean, if you think about their religion, it's such a barter system. I mean, you get exactly 72 virgins. I mean, just the concept itself is quite interesting.
Aravine, do you want 72 virgins when you die? And by the way, I'm
a female. Only the males in.
Oh, is that true? It doesn't really? Are you serious?
That's actually the.
Oh, that's why you don't find. Okay, so why? Okay, so that's a good point. Then, if that's true. So
personally, wait. I wouldn't want any virgins because I like my women with some experience.
Well, hang on. Let me. Don't we all? But you like show Ocean? Okay, so let me ask you, Stephen. That's a good point.
They'll get experience eventually.
Yeah. Ocean has a lot of experience with my mom, from what I understand.
Oh my God.
Gross.
Yeah. Now he's gross. Okay. So, Stephen, you put.
Why would you make a joke like that, Steve? That's terrible.
I'm a bad man. Don't you know?
You're a very bad boy. Let me go get my paddle.
Do you want me to go get my mom?
Earth did I come
This is your Ocean. She really does. All right, so Stephen, I gotta ask you though. You ran this argument, which I think is a good argument to a point, that the males I just found out are the only ones that get the 72 virgins.
Yeah.
So if that's true, then why do we have female suicide bombers? What's their incentive?
I hear that they're blowing up right now.
Wait, can I do that? There you go.
I would actually love to hear this. I'm genuinely intellectually curious about this explanation.
Of what?
What explanation?
Yeah.
Of why we do have female suicide bombers.
I'm sure that women go to heaven too.
They just don't get the 72 male virgins.
No, they just get stuck with their husbands.
Yeah. So, that would make sense. Well, wait a minute. If there's 70, okay. I'm trying to work this out in my head here. Now, first of all, Aravine, I thought in the Quran that passage dealing with that 72 virgins was actually misinterpreted. Have you heard that before?
Yes. Yes,
so
and it has been misinterpreted. I haven't really had the heart to actually learn a lot about it, but from what I've been taught and told, when men die, what the prophet had said that the men would get 72 virgins in the afterlife.
And they're all like I won't even say it.
But you have to remember that it's not just
No,
it's not just 72 virgins. It all depends on how you leave this life, because like I said, my friend Shakir, he studied the Quran, and he's actually the son of the man that designed Modafinil. He's a brilliant guy, and we had a lot of debates with him about this, and it's basically the fact that when he actually killed the people in Pulse, the 50 people, you don't just get 72 virgins by default. I mean, sure, you do get the 72 virgins if you die a certain way, but on top of that, if you do it during a certain holiday, and if you commit certain acts, that number multiplies and aggregates.
So you're saying that there's like special weekend deals like there are in Steam?
That is correct. That is correct. And that is how we arrived at the fact that the man that committed that act at Pulse and killed the 50 people would have enough virgins to last him over a decade.
So you get a
new one every day.
Oh wow, man. Okay, where do I sign up for this?
I mean, if you try to sign up for this, I'm pretty sure you're going to start being monitored by the FBI.
Yeah, well, you know what?
What they don't tell you is that your penis stays in the grave.
Well, you could be like, what is it, Hornors that has penis?
Well,
put back
I mean,
together again by
what
ice?
we're discussing here is the fundamental belief of people. I mean, for them, what they believe is, what they believe and what happens. So for them, this is very real. This is what motivates them, to commit these acts and to commit mass murder. And it's a powerful belief system that they follow, and it just shows you just how powerful religion can be with a promise of such a fruitful afterlife.
Well, it's not even just that. I mean, religion itself is powerful only for the fact that even people who leave theism, it's still, you think back. I mean, a lot of people have guilt, and then eventually, most of the time, that guilt goes away from it. I understand. When I left, religion behind, and I don't have much guilt behind it because, like I said, I don't see enough evidence to support being Mormon anymore. That's why I'm not Mormon, right? But I don't like when people characterize any group, including the LDS. So I see people saying things that I don't think is true or I know not to be true, and I'll step in and correct that. That's not white knighting. It's just I have a little insider information on it because I used to be one, but I don't follow it, and I don't think that is a correct religion. But if I thought any religion was correct, I would be that religion, right?
So I have to talk to you more, Steve.
I will be worshiping Odin by the end of the year. I have a feeling.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Hey,
would that
Steve.
be okay? Would that be cool? Would people care if I became pagan? Would that be like a cool thing?
I don't know. I think that
I would join you.
people generally think that it's okay with me. So
do you get to go? Do you get to go Skyclad?
Sometimes.
Awesome. Oh, dude, so down. Let's do it.
Yeah. And the women are great. I'm just kidding.
Oh, you know what?
I'm not kidding.
I used to hang out with a lot of Wiccans back in high school.
I think we lost our Quran expert.
She comes and goes.
Okay.
And that wasn't even the Quran expert that I was referring to, but I invited her prior. But she knows a lot about the Quran. So.
Yeah, that was.
What's that, Steve? Was that heretic woman?
Yeah, exactly. I invited heretic woman, but she's busy. I guess.
I think that heretic woman and Aravine have completely different opinions about the Quran.
Yeah,
I think also
heretic woman is excellent.
Averine is of the opinion that you don't need to accept the entire Quran.
Oh, and heretically that you do it. So I always thought that if you're Islam, it's all or nothing. They force you to believe everything. It's like a fundamentalist.
Well, I mean, unless you don't, there's like Islam doesn't have a central system like the Catholic Church does. You just have different, different imams expressing their opinions, and then you have the hadiths. It might be, I'm not sure how Aravine like squares this with everything else, but I mean, she's definitely an exception, and I think that she realizes that she's an exception. But there's a lot of other movements within Islam that don't take everything in the Quran in the way that your Shias and Sunnis do.
Yeah, Aravine's interesting because she tends to go from Muslim to Wiccan, but as she admits though, she's learning.
I mean, she's both. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess you pointed out that you could be both. Although to a Muslim, I'm not sure. An outside Muslim looking in, I don't know if they would be accepting of something like that.
I think that you can be Wiccan and have respect for the Muslim God, but you can't be Muslim and also be Wiccan. That's the
I'm okay with that.
A Wiccan doesn't have any trouble worshiping Allah, but somebody who's Muslim would have trouble worshiping the other
because they're monotheistic. Yeah. And we had that discussion about monolateralism the other day for that very reason. So I think you're right. I think that she's not like having a contradictory position or anything like that. No, but to a fundamentalist,
not as a Wiccan, no,
not as a Wiccan, but as a Muslim, then maybe. So
as a traditional Muslim, she's not a traditional Muslim,
right? Well, that's why I was saying not her, but to an outside Muslim that is a traditional or fundamentalist one, they would have an issue with that.
Right, a Muslim that disagrees with her would disagree with her.
Right. So glad we're on the same page.
A super Muslim might not have an issue. There's a bunch of movements within Islam that might be fine with her. Certainly the powers that be in many areas in the Middle East currently would have issue with her, but they'd also have issues with her driving. So, Actually, I think women can drive.
And actually, obviously the obvious.
Aren't they finally passing laws in the UAE for women to finally be able to have rights and to actually drive and vote?
Yeah, but the thing that they're running into, from what I understand, I wish Irving would come back. She hasn't messaged me, so I don't know why she dropped. But what I think is going on is because women have never had experience driving, that now they've let them starting to drive is causing havoc, a lot of accidents.
Well,
that's, I mean,
great. You let women drive, and then they provide you with evidence why they
exactly. There you go. We have evidence now. You let women drive.
Right.
See, great.
But no, to sum up what I was saying about Irvine, she's back.
That's right. They're talking about you behind your back because that's what we do all around here.
That there's movements within Islam that wouldn't have a problem. There's other movements within Islam that would, and she's obviously an exception. But I don't think that Wiccans would have an issue, except for Wiccans that hate Islam.
No, that's I would be an issue because I'm also transgender.
With the Muslims,
David,
the Sufi wouldn't care.
I don't know. Sufi Islam seems to be an exception to a lot of things, so that's
Islam seems to be pretty strict in certain things. I mean, they do have a method of executing people that do not conform to their original sex by throwing them off of tall buildings.
Yeah,
I think that's homosexuals, but
sure. No, it's also
transgenders as well.
There's also transgenders in there too.
Well, aren't we supposed to lump them all to one group? Isn't that the thing? If you're not a conformist, you're on the other side, right? That's how it works.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, certain groups would have all of us wash our feet, line up against the wall, and then
we'd all be dead to one
for our views.
Yeah.
So we're no exception.
One way or another.
I probably would rank number one on that list just for being Russian.
It doesn't matter whether if you're Russian, if you're Jewish, if you're transgender, if you're gay, if you're pagan, somebody's going to have a reason to dislike you, hate you, or try to kill you. I don't know.
And the Muslim, like in Saudi Arabia and stuff like that, if you're caught doing the practical arts of magic or sorcery, as they would say, you would be publicly hanged or stoned to death.
Yep. I actually learned about many points of Islam from my father. He was an operator for the military for a while, and he operated in those countries and dealt with all of that. So he had a lot of real-time information to give me about what happened and how things happened from Afghanistan down to further conflicts.
From what I'm familiar with, Irvine, it seems like you get chased around on the Muslim issue a lot, but from a Wiccan angle, it doesn't there wouldn't be any issues with your identity, at least not doxastically. Maybe with specific Wiccans.
Yeah, well, I mean,
correct.
Why would they don't care.
Well, with all Wiccans and pagans, we all get along just fine. Yeah, we don't talk bad about each other. We don't harm each other. As for people in the Muslim, as they see that, they don't agree with it. They think it's bad. It's like the devil type stuff, right?
Yeah. By the way, do you know what the Wiccan Rite is?
Yes, I do.
Well, okay, you do. Because anybody else besides?
Actually, I don't.
Really? Lisa,
no
harm to others, do without will.
I don't know much about that either, but I can tell you one thing. I mean, I don't believe
I've heard that before as the Wiccans. I didn't heard it expressed in that.
But I can tell you one thing. Although I don't believe in anything specific, I'm very acceptant to other religions, from Wiccan to Islam to Christianity. I don't mind what the person practices or why they practice it, what they do in their own time. I'm quite accepting and open to all of it, without any judgment.
You're not an anti-theist?
I thought you were just going against Islam a second ago.
No, not at all. I'm going against a religion that would hurt other people for not having the same views. I think that's dangerous, and I think it's wrong.
I
to
agree.
hurt anybody for their religious views, one way or form. Because me personally, whether you practice Islam or any other religion, to me, you're just a person, and those are your views, those are your religious beliefs, and I respect them, and I'm quite fine with them. What I'm not okay with is for someone being harmed or injured just for what they believe in or don't believe in.
Yeah,
That
I
is
think
all.
anybody that has any kind of sanity, which I guess clearly most of us don't, I think that anybody who advocates for religion that puts forth this position that if you don't think or believe the same way, you should be stoned to death. I mean, religion in itself can be a tool. I think that in some ways it helps people. In some cases, right? I think that people that are actual sociopaths that have no conscience, I think religion does give them a guidance sometimes that they think to themselves, at least I'm not going to do this action because of the consequentialism of it, rather than the fact that they don't understand why the action is wrong, right?
Well, Steve, I got to stop you there regarding the subject of sociopath. It's subject I'm very familiar with. Actually, they don't need religion at all. They don't care about the afterlife. They know that life is now because they don't empathize most of the time, and the only empathy that comes from is logical empathy. So they
Well,
navigate this life pretty unbound.
I know some
And my
people
older
that
brother was a religious sociopath, and that didn't end well for me.
yeah, I know some people that I've even asked them,
Wait,
you
who
know,
are you
look,
saying doesn't have an afterlife?
who doesn't?
Steve?
I'm sorry, what?
Who is Steven was saying that somebody doesn't have an afterlife, or some group doesn't have an afterlife.
Well, the group,
Oh,
I mean, I guess me is what I believe in is that the only life that we have is here and now. That's my strong view on everything is that we are no different from a dog or a cat that's next to you, or even an ant that, once you step on a bug, for example, and you destroy their brain where the neurons can no longer fire, you essentially destroy the consciousness because science has shown to an extent. I'm not trying to step on any religious toes. I'm not trying to get any backlash here. I'm not trying to advocate my point of view and say it's better than someone else's. What all I'm saying is that my belief is that, once we die, we are gone. So in essence, it is like falling asleep, except you never wake up. You are just gone because what makes you is essentially your brain, and that's just a series of chemical reactions. And science has shown that, again and again. And in my view, religion is what people use as a comfort because it's a really scary prospect that this one life is what you get, and after this, there is nothing. It's hard to swallow for many people,
Okay,
but
but
that's what I believe.
I got to
I'm
tell you.
unaware of where science proved that conscious was physical.
Well, hang on one sec, Ocean. We'll get to that because that's a Brian Cox type thing. But I got to tell you, I do know people that I've asked if there wasn't the Bible, if there wasn't a God, if you didn't have your faith, would you be out there tomorrow raping, pillaging, and killing? And they would say, yeah, or war. I don't know. And it's like, wait a minute. I was like, look, if even was a theist, if somebody would have asked me that question, I'd be like, no, it's not. I don't want to go out and raping, killing, and killing people. And if I didn't have the Bible or my belief, that wouldn't change. And yet, I think there might be people that are sociopaths that don't understand really right from wrong, but they do use religion as a means, as a guide, a social cue.
Okay,
way,
so
folks, it's just hey,
Oh, by the way, welcome,
morning, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on your time zone. I don't have any rum or any Coke there, but I do have
Whiskey.
spiced wine.
Oh, spiced
Heated
wine.
spiced
Good for
wine.
you.
So
Yeah, I've got a beer, so we're outsiders.
You're
more
excited.
classy than I am.
Yeah, well, Landon's a very classy dude. Seriously.
thank you. But I think that this conversation brings up a number of things I think that Christopher Hitchens said that I think are actually quite appropriate, and it really is so far. It sounds like religion does poison everything. Religion is not a force of good in the world, and it would be far 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 better if it was, if it wasn't on Earth, but unfortunately it is. And I think it's also the case that in terms of the moral stuff, it really does take religion to cause people to go out and commit great acts of evil. We have, and society has had sense of morals and sense of codes of conduct well before even the so-called Christian list of do's and don'ts came forward. And I think it will be able to continue to do so. But someone who uses the excuse religion to essentially check their brain in the door and say, "This is how I behave," is unfortunately part of, I think, the general problem that we have in society.
Yeah, no, I think I definitely agree with that. I'm
sorry to step on people, but that's
Landon, you can't step on anybody, please.
Well, I have something to add to that. Okay, so you mentioned, religion kind of keeping people in check, but so in the short time that I studied criminal law, and I mean, I am going to graduate from law school in May, I did get a chance to study under Robert Blecker. And if any of you guys watch 60 Minutes, you probably know who that man is.
Yeah.
And he's one of the most talented criminal law professors in New York City. And he made sure that we learned all of the schools of punishment. And basically, one of the schools essentially outlines a deterrence system, and that is why, for example, you know how we have larceny laws and grand larceny laws. Dependent on the amount of money that you steal is the amount of jail time you will receive. Now, for example, if you remember that famous person that was jailed for, I believe, life, if I'm not mistaken, for that massive Ponzi scheme.
Yep.
The reason why that man received life and someone else that steals, let's say, $1,000 only, might get a very short sentence is because we have a system that's in place for deterrence in our laws, which basically relies on a person being a rationally calculating individual who looks at the severity of the punishment, the likelihood of the outcome of that punishment,
and well, there's your problem,
and versus what the benefit is. A rationally calculating individual. And just like religion, I believe if you're saying sociopaths are deterred by religion, I have to say that is not correct.
Well, I think
the only thing
it is. I met people who tell me that religion is the only thing.
The only thing that deters sociopaths from committing crimes and so forth, and the difference between sociopaths and psychopaths, is that they know better than to violate a law that's simply not worth it and then get a jail term. And I can tell you one thing, I know from experience because I go to law school, and trust me, a lot of people in law school are sociopaths because that's the majority of our politicians and lawyers.
Yeah, I actually asked a friend who has a PhD in psychology, psychology or sociology, I don't remember. And she had actually said that psychopath and sociopath are used interchangeably anymore. But you're talking about restorative justice versus retributive justice, right? Do you ever read a book called A Theory of Justice?
No, I have not.
Okay, it's usually
so. But Robert Blecker is a very big one on retributivism. That's his jam.
Mm.
Deterrence, retributivism is
right?
One of the schools, one of the six, and so is deterrence. It is also one of the six. Yeah. So they're in the same.
Someone mentioned saying that all the petitions are sociopaths. My experience, anecdotal experience, is that most people in political office are generally trying to do a good thing. There are very few quote saints and very few quote devils. Most of the people land in the middle, and are generally try to do the right thing, but have, like everyone else, their failures. There are people I knew in politics who are really despicable human beings. There are some amazing people there as well. It's just the spectrum of life.
But both of these people could be sociopaths just equally. Just some of them choose to do good and some of them choose to do bad, but they're equally capable. Just that one label does not make a person bad.
Yeah, I mean, just because you're a politician doesn't mean that you're a sociopath as well.
No, just because you're a sociopath does not mean you're a bad person. Some of them are really good and loyal people.
Yeah, because it's a syndrome, not a prediction of their outcome.
Yeah, and
correct.
I'm only going in from like a personal experience. When a person, and I'm going to use the terms very loosely here, and I'm going to admit to this, but when a person tells me that if they didn't have the Bible, they would be going out doing these horrible things. I do got to question their amount of empathy, the amount of ability they have to empathize with society, even. Because I got to tell you, what does that tell you about a person who says, yeah, well, if I didn't have this particular religion I believe in, yeah, I'd be out killing people out tomorrow. Well, that means they want to go out and kill people, I think. Well, I have a propensity for it.
Sure. And I think, but this notion that you have to have God or religion in order to not kill people is a really. I mean, it's one of the things.
I'm not advocating that.
One of the memes that is really kind of pernicious as far as religion goes. By the way, I want to say a nice wee to Gage out there. Paragon is out there, so.
Oh, is he? Hey, oh yeah, I see him. Yeah, hey, Gage. Yeah, he follows us over from
Speaking of sociopathic sounds.
The Pimp Monk channel, which, by the way, I'm supposed to be a guest on Pimp Monk's show some point. I don't remember.
Cool, you should.
Yeah, no, he asked me.
Pimp Monk's a cool dude. Let him know I said hello.
He doesn't know who the hell you are.
Yes, he does.
Okay.
I've been in several hangouts with him.
Of course I will. And Pimp Monk is going to join us too. I think we're going to he's been on a couple of times, but I mean, I need him. I need him as a guest.
Yeah, I mean,
he's a good guy.
He'd be a riot here, so
he's a great guy. He's a great guy. So maybe I'll instead of just having him as a hangout, I might have him as a special guest.
I mean, someone I guess Pimp Monk is somebody that is the sort of the pinnacle of street smarts. I mean, the guy is actually brilliant, although he says, "Oh, I'm just a country dude," but he actually is quite.
He's sharp. He's sharp.
Anyone can do stand-up comedy has got to be faster than that.
G-Man just ruined my street cred. He gave me a $2 super chat. People look at this. People are going to screenshot the hell out.
I was just checking to be sure that was actually him, and it was.
Is that a real G-Man?
Hats off to G-Man.
Yeah, people are going to screenshot the hell out of that. Just look at this. No, wait, here we go. Steve Man. We're already won. G-Man is buying Steve Man's channel.
By the way, G-Man, I did defend you. Someone thought that you were merely a troll, and I think you probably are who you are. So.
No, G-Man is definitely not a troll. Yeah. I don't know how anybody can even think that. He's
saying that you're a troll.
Well, okay.
Yeah. That's somebody who's saying you're a troll. Apparently, that's what Landon was saying.
Who, me or Landon?
I don't defend his beliefs.
Who's a troll?
I think G-Man is an example of how religion poisons everything.
Oh, G-Man and I don't agree on a lot of things.
Oh, you're talking about G-Man. I thought you were talking about Steve.
Oh, I'll play it to Steve too if you want.
Sure, you know what? Throw us all together in the same thing. We're all the same.
Steve and G-Man are the same kind of troll.
Exactly. No, actually, I'm the new in True Empiricism. Haven't you heard? True Empiricism. We're so tight. Me and him have so much in common.
True Empiricism and Steve are actually the same person.
I've noticed.
This is why you don't see them in the same hangout.
Oh my God! You're so right. And by the way, I'm letting my hair grow out longer. Again, I want to be like Ronnie. But you're right. Nobody's ever seen us in the same hangout on my channel.
I think you go the way of the shaved head, like I have.
But anyways, we got a lawyer or a person studied to be a lawyer in here. So, G-Man, by the way, I'll give you the link if you want in. Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, please. Has separation of church and state been overridden by Trump?
I would say no because it's a principle, and Trump can't override principles. Now, does Trump ignore separation of church and state for his political belief? Yep.
That vaping's so loud.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But again, I think again it's a
G-Man's dropping some bombs on you.
He's dropping
just
bombs.
Gave you $10.
I don't know what's going on here. Thank you, G-Man. I don't know what's going on here.
$10 super chat from G-Man.
Oh my God, this is going to destroy.
Well, thank you, G-Man, for contributing to this.
Yeah, I appreciate it immensely, G-Man. I just
godless collection. Oh, actually, no. I guess godful collection.
This is going to be talked about forever. It's going to be screenshot all the place. But thank you, G-Man. I do appreciate it. But I want to make sure that the person studying law in here, puts it out there that no, Trump did not override church and state. What happened was he wrote on the platform that he was going to override the Johnson Amendment, which only allowed for preachers or pastors to advocate for a specific person from the pulpit and not lose their tax exempt status.
Yeah,
that's all basically it really was. And so he wanted that gone, but that modification that he wanted to the Republican bill, I believe it was a Republican bill or a Democratic bill?
I think it probably was a Republican bill in the House, but there certainly has been Democratic bills that have done a similar thing.
Okay, and but it never passed. That the bill passed, but his rider along with it, or his line entry, or whatever the hell he changed on it, didn't pass. So even what
I-
Trump wanted.
I would be in favor of religion losing its tax exempt status entirely, right? I think that's
By the way, Steve, we can hear that vaping, and it's so loud. It's so loud.
Well, you can actually hear me.
Absolutely,
Oh, God, yes.
really. It's. I can simulate it if you want.
Yeah. Oh, G-Man says
It's overwhelming and disgusting.
G-Man says that's for enduring TST. I love that episode. I thought it was one of JD's best hangouts. It won't be his top, but it'll be out there. I told G-Man that.
Well, thank you, G-Man, for those two.
I told you, JD, that's a good video.
2 tips.
Yeah, we all love a little TST, right?
Yeah.
You know.
Good night, G-Man.
Oh, G-Man's already going. Good night. Oh, he's in New York, so.
Yeah. So ending taxes and status for religious groups and institutions, I think, would be a way to handle and way to actually make the separation principles even stronger.
Oh, and yeah, Len. By the way, I don't ever want to advocate that that I believe that you need religion to keep people from going out and killing people. Right? I think that if we have reached a point in society where there is no religion, I don't think that we would have a society where people going, oh, I'm just going to decide to run out and go kill people. I don't think that's going to happen too much. I think the people that feel that way, either most of them I think are probably lying. I think a lot of them get narrowed down in an argument, and they, instead of biting the bullet, they try to go deeper and they say, oh yeah. Well, I believe the Bible full-heartedly, and so if that isn't true, then yeah, I have no grounds for morality. Therefore, I'd be going out raping, pillaging, and killing. And they might be one thing or two things. One, they might be a sociopath that actually believes that, or they just might be like having bad argumentation, right?
Most likely a psychopath with past trauma that actually wants to go out and harm people. It takes a special kind of person to actually want to do that. And honestly, I found that most religious people that hide behind religion actually are pretty bad. They use that as some kind of self-righteousness, but religion or not, they're still going to act on their impulses. Yep.
Sure, and I think it's a combination. I think it's some actually believe that, and other people, they, like I said, they get tied down in an argument and they don't want to concede a point, and they keep going deeper and deeper down that rabbit hole of bad argumentation, and the consequences lead to things like, well, if there's no Bible, you're going to be out killing people tomorrow. But then, because they follow in line with their narrative. Atheists have no morality. They have no grounding for morality.
But atheists don't just go out randomly killing people. There's a lot more that goes into, not wanting to actually take a life of another human being. There's just religion that prevents you from doing it. I mean, that's...
But Steve, that's because they borrow from the Christian worldview. That's why.
Well, I mean...
Okay, let's
put it this way. Let's put it this way. Let's say if someone... Let's say I put you in a room, or any atheist, with another human being, and I say, hey, here's a knife, and if you want to kill that random human being just for fun, go ahead. There'll be no impunity. I can tell you right now that 99% of the population won't do it, simply because they won't derive any pleasure, or they have no desire to brutally murder another human being for no reason.
Oh, but for a reason, it's okay.
Well, but that's kind of taking apart what I said. But I mean, even if they had a reason, I doubt it would escalate to that. It takes a special kind of twisted person inside to want to harm another human being on that level, outside of religion and even outside of being a sociopath. It's a different type of people, and these are the exact people why we have the laws that we have that remove them from society.
All right, but the argument goes to, some people want to advocate a very strong anti-theist position, such that they want to eliminate religion. And my argument against that, one of the things has been, right now, the way the world is at, if we just tomorrow eliminated religion, I think there would be catastrophic results. Catastrophic. And so if their end goal is to do it over a long period of time, okay, we'll see what happens. But anybody who says that, yeah, I'd like to get rid of religion today, I don't think they're looking at the bigger picture.
I mean, if the only thing that's keeping people from doing the right thing is the promise of, going to heaven by being a good person versus going to hell, then we have a much bigger problem on our hands that needs to be addressed.
And
Excellent point. Excellent point.
Yeah, that problem is actually
and
Maybe
realistically,
not generally, but sometimes in I think in certain situations it might be what stops people.
Yeah, what's wrong with it's nice to be nice? I mean, why do I have to do it in order to get to some place in an afterlife?
I totally agree with that. That is my whole point.
It might be a wall for like a crime of passion or something like that, where it's like, well,
a crime of passion is
an
affirmative defense in the eyes of the law.
Okay.
Yeah, in some places, yeah. No, I mean,
I don't think that changes anything. But what I'm saying is that it might.
Well, it does. It actually changes you from having to serve a sentence for murder in the second degree to voluntary manslaughter, which changes a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're still guilty. It's just that it's
okay. I don't think that addresses the point that I was making.
Okay,
is that religion can be a preventative against that kind of thing with afterlife-based religions.
Well, okay, but what you're saying right now is bringing in the fundamental reason for why. I'm about to get a lot of hate for this, but this is exactly why religion was created. It was created by the upper ruling class to control the peasants, and essentially said, "Don't kill, behave yourself, be a good peasant and do your job. And when you are done with your shitty life and you die, you're going to go to heaven." And essentially, if you follow history and you pay attention to this, every single religion has the same theme.
So, Stephen, even if it wasn't created by even if religion was not created by the elite, it certainly is promoted and perpetuated by that.
It predates the elite, so I think it's hard to say.
This notion of God appointed your ruler to rule. I mean, is a perfect example of that. I mean, that's. Otherwise,
you find that
out
in Christianity
the British monarchy as being a bunch of inbred idiots. But it's been God. They've been appointed by God to rule, so we leave them there, or they do.
Well,
I still chuck it out on the street.
What theme is common with all religions? Are you like?
Look, if you look at religion, I mean, seriously, the upper class can't have a heaven on earth now. Like, even if you go to Islam, I mean, you can, if you have enough power and money, you can have your 72 virgins. Shit, you can have a virgin for every single day if you really wanted to. But however, someone that's like a car mechanic,
hang on.
Let's say...
Can I have music? Go ahead.
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you hear me?
Tony, is that Tony?
Yeah.
Barely.
We barely hear you.
Yeah, barely.
Keep going, guys.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Tony. Nope, still can't. Okay.
Okay, Tony conceded, but I mean,
I didn't hear Tony.
All right, where did I stop? You guys gotta remind me.
You were
talking about. I was asking about common themes in religion, and
yeah. So I mean, like, even if you take if you take the Hindu religion, of the caste system, I mean, it's all about controlling the lower class and serving the upper class. I mean, religion in some ways, the way the foundation of religion is correct. Like, Christianity is a prime example. Do not kill. Do not steal, be good to your neighbor, so forth. It's setting the foundation for how people should behave in a modern society. And today we have laws that, essentially govern the way that people should behave. And I mean, even Islam says, do not steal. And there's a reason why in, Saudi Arabia, people just leave their Lamborghini unlocked, just with the keys in the car, because nobody's going to take that, because why? Because they're going to cut off your hand if you do.
Right.
And guess what? That is a deterrent. That is a school of punishment that we use here in our legal system in the United States. The deterrent school of punishment, the same way, Steve, that you mentioned, the retributivism school of punishment. Just that, here, for stealing a car, you get slapped with a Grand Theft Auto charge, and there you lose your damn hand. And I would say there it's much more severe than here. You don't exactly go through the same legal process, and it works. But at the end of the day, if you look at it very carefully and analyze it, from a proper perspective, it's still a set of laws that people follow.
I couldn't agree with you more.
They got more respect for
I disagree with them vehemently.
Well, then we suck at each other, Ocean. We're going to be here for 5 more days talking about this.
I know. It's going to be bad.
In prison, so
I
think that there's some religions that are legalistic, sure. But I don't think that that's something that's common within religion. I'm trying to think of what pops up in my religion, and I think that there's some general moral guidances, but they're not taken as.
But Ocean is still a carrot and stick approach. Would you agree with that?
It's a what?
It's a carrot and stick approach. If you don't steal, you're rewarded with heaven or virgins, and if you do steal, you get your hands cut off. I think
you have moralistic religions with afterlives. Yeah, that's going to be a thing. Hold on a second. I'll be right back.
Yeah, and I'm talking about religions that more do have some kind of supernatural overtones when they're talking about eternities and afterlife. Sure. I mean, there are religions that don't have much to do with a deity or even spiritualism per se. When they talk about spiritual, they're talking more of the awe of the universe. I'm not really referring to that type of group, and I don't think Stephen is either. But I think that most, especially mainstream religions that involve a deity of some type, does have that carrot and stick approach. And I think that he's right that the fact that you're going to do something wrong, like steal a car and get your hands chopped off, it's not because you're doing it because God has told you that's bad. You're not doing it because you're a moral person. You're doing it out of fear of the consequences for it. And most of us don't need that. I don't need to be threatened to have my hands cut off if I go steal a car because I don't want to go steal a car. I don't have the urge to do that. Unless it's really nice.
All right, guys. Unfortunately, I do have class tomorrow, and it is 1 a.m. here in New York, so I'm gonna have to get off. But it was a pleasure, and thank you so much for having me.
We see where your priorities are. So. No, sure.
Yeah, if you guys ever have another debate, shoot me an invite. It was a pleasure, and
this isn't a debate. We have quite a few different types of hangouts. We have 3 different channels. We have 1,300 members. We have a lot of discussions. So yeah, this is just a hangout for just drinking.
Either way, it was that's what I was doing. I was drinking and just talking. So it was great. I had a really great time, and I want to thank every and each one of you for having me. And it was beautiful. Thank you guys, and have a good night.
Best wishes on your studies.
All right, I'm back.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys.
Will do. All right, guys. Shoot me an invite anytime. I'll be there. Thank you so much, and good night to you guys. Have fun. Okay, bye.
Good night.
And Michael, that was somebody from your debate group.
Yes, Steve, that was. Thank you guys so much for having him. He is a law student, and as you guys can tell, he brings up some controversial topics, and he's great at bringing a different perspective to this.
Oh, it's awesome.
I'm kind of frustrated that he left as soon as I got back from getting Domino's, but because I had a lot of major disagreements with what he was saying. But oh well. So for that next time.
A lot of people.
By the way, Tony, I'm curious about your picture. Is it Genesis 1 or did we delete part of it?
No, it's Genesis 1. It's just a Genesis 1. Yeah.
Tony gets asked that an awful lot.
Rolled up. No, I didn't have it originally, but just lately I have though. Because I think I blew it up because no one could see it. So I was like, well, damn, I don't think everyone. Some guy said it was a dragon. And I'm like, that's a dragon. What?
No, I was just curious. I was trying to figure out which chapter you were referring to.
Yeah, no, it's just Genesis 1. I was sitting out here and it was just there. So I was like, oh, God.
So, Lana, next time you do run into a pimp monk, let him know to contact me. We'll arrange something. I do want to do a
I will encourage him. I will do that in a.
Yeah, he asked me, and he had Red Eye, who's in the live
one of the things right now is he is headed off to the DP 420 show. He's going to
right.
They're going to do a 24-hour thing, and he's heading off to
Seattle.
So he's sort of consumed by that whole thing.
I guess I can say this. We have a little bit of segment for our podcast that we have TJ Kirk doing for us.
Cool.
Yeah.
He's an interesting dude. Yes.
Yeah.
TJ Kirk?
Yeah.
You guys are hooked up. What did I miss, man? Flat Earth is like strayed me away from you guys. I'm sorry.
Well, that's why we
And
don't do
Landon,
much.
how's it feel to not be where you're at right now?
It feels really great. I'm glad to be in a more less thermally challenged environment.
Yeah, we're so glad that you're back away from the negative 200 degree shit.
So, but anyway, and it's also the reentry was very interesting because you basically turn off a lot of media in society and come back and you see the kind of dumpster fires and say, how did this get here? So that's another fun.
Like flat earthers.
I thought you had it like. Are you talking about the South Pole?
Yeah. By the way, did you know my preparation for the item? The doctors had me hyperventilate in a bag to get enough oxygen to sound coherent.
Before you called?
Yeah.
Really?
Because you're at high altitude, and
man,
you had sort of brain fog.
So people don't know.
It sounded coherent.
You gotta get oxygen in there.
Yeah, if you guys have not seen, there's a video on my channel where Landon had actually called in from the South Pole, and I don't mean like from the parameter of the South Pole, like miles away or whatever. He was
I remember that
the pole on an Iridium sat phone, and it was amazing. That worked out splendidly. Couldn't have been better.
Yeah, I think it was in that chat too.
But yes, it's always kind of fun the reentry now. In full reentry mode. So, but Steve, what's up with you? What's new and exciting?
We're just having a rum and coke night. All the sycophants that watch or like to join or have conversations about all these interesting things. That's all. And
be sure to become a Patreon of him because he's.
I am
even for a buck.
Your friend Steve here is gone to the dark side and talked to flat earthers on Sunday.
Oh, that was great.
Ooh.
For real, hey, did they not do exactly what I was texting you on the side? I'm like, he was. Yeah, man, I'm gonna go on this show tomorrow though and give it to him.
Well, okay. Did you watch that flat Earth debate that we had?
I've watched it like a bunch of times.
Really, that one we just had?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
because I argue.
Which one did you just have? Which
this I was we had Nathan Oakley, Anthony Riley, it was Branty and Christopher
Chris Monk
against the Rumpus, Geostriber, who else was there?
Miles Davis, Soundly.
Miles Davies. Yeah, it was just.
We had heavy hitters, all the people that have been arguing with them for the past 2 months.
Yeah, they got obliterated, and they want part two. I have found out that Nathan Oakley has been in full damage control since then.
Mm-hmm.
How is he damaged? How is he controlling his damage?
He hasn't let anyone in his debates. Usually, I can get in easy. He has blocked me, and he's made it a echo chamber. It's pretty much like Dell's, like every other flat earther now. Like it's not open.
And he's just saying that everybody was strong manning him. And this is the point that I wanted to make when I was moderating that. I wanted to.
You did a great job, by the way.
Claim was. Thank you, Tony. Very positive feedback on that all around that people have been saying. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate that.
Well, you're dealing with crazy people, so.
Well, and everybody in there is like a personality type.
Yeah,
right?
And they all think that Landon here has lied about where he's been for the past year or whatever.
Oh, we're all a bunch of liars. Yeah, I mean, we all know there's no South Pole, and then Landon just
I didn't measure the distance to the sun, and I didn't measure the mass.
We know he doesn't have
really just shoring up the wall, the ice wall for so they could get through.
It's funny. One of my photos that shows an ice wall is being used by the flat earthers as proof that there's an ice wall.
And by the way, you didn't earn any of those 8 world records that you hold, right?
Well, but it's true. I have literally participated in the measure of the distance to the sun. I've measured the circumference of the Earth. You know what? Do you have video you've done that? So far. I mean, actually do the work and that's what's fun.
Landon,
it's a lot more fun to pay attention to reality than to.
Do you have video of you at the South Pole?
Yeah, I mean there certainly is photos.
Well, I'll use that as an argument tomorrow.
Not photos, video, because it doesn't matter. Video's all CGI anyways, so yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I'll send you that video later on Twitter. But it was brutal. These guys got wrecked. And so the reason being, I wanted Nathan Oakley to really put forth his claim is because I didn't want him to say he was being straw man, and he acknowledged the claim. I clarified it with him. Tony, listen to that. If you listen to it, did you hear me not clarify that
No,
claim?
definitely.
How many times? And so now he's in full damage mode.
Three times. Three times you did it that one time.
And he got shat
then
on.
Then you made sure to clarify it again.
He got shat on.
But yeah, they had. But see, what they did was they came into that like everything that the Globers were arguing. They just erased in some hangout like all the claims that Rumpus was going to say. They never told us that they put those down. That now it's just for Google, the validity of Google. It never was that. It was always about being able to see Ireland.
Oh yeah, they
threw that out.
They had to go and throw that out. They had to like.
Yeah, but they didn't tell anyone though. They just kind of did it without, and that's why everyone was like, "Well, hey, you didn't say, you have these claims here that
they got beat up." Tony, do you think they got annihilated?
Hell yeah, they quit.
They quit. Well, that's why like I've heard Alex had messaged me talking about that Nathan Oakley. By the way, I'm speaking quiet because I don't want to be too loud, but that Nathan Oakley is in full damage mode, such that he's telling everybody, "Oh well, we went in there, but all they did was straw man," and everybody's been telling him, "No, this was your claim. This was the rebuttal. Fuck off. Nobody straw manned you," and they're not buying his narrative. Even flat earthers are. Off the record. So, by the way, anybody who's listening, don't listen right now. Go pee. Okay.
Yeah.
But I had heard that Nathan Oakley and Anthony Riley are not on the same page on certain things, and especially this.
The last 2 weeks, all three of them actually have been kind of feuding because this whole new measurement they're doing is ridiculous, and they're false. They're lying about it, and they're not on the same page. They're not lying.
I'm surprised that they even have a book to have a page on. So
yeah, well, it's more just like a crayon, like like it's a board.
So our secret plans to all become flat earthers, we shouldn't go through with that?
Yeah, right. It doesn't take much, You just got to like bite at your farts and whatever.
Dude, I mean, think about it. I had 250 views live when I did that. If I became a flat earther, I'd probably double that maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Sanchez. Those guys get fucking, oh my God. Right?
Yeah. Oh, Soundly fucking annihilated both Sanchez.
Yeah, he's, God. I like Soundly. Oh my God, Soundly knows his shit too.
Yeah.
I have a question about flat earthers, if you guys don't mind.
Dude, it's Rum and Coke now. You can talk about.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing for 2 months. So.
You can talk about Rum and Coke if you want.
Yeah. So if the Earth was flat, right? And I noticed in the last video I watched, we were talking about being able to see land, and that was it. Like, okay, you could see land, and Rumpus did a phenomenal job of providing diagrams for everybody to see, which great work by Rumpus.
That's the third time he's done that, and 4 other people have done it too.
Yeah, wonderful work. I'm wondering, okay, so the sun goes around, right? Like, in other countries can see the sun coming up. Like, doesn't that disprove it alone? I mean, why are we going on?
They're working on a model where perception is different than ours. Like, their perception is when it goes through like the force field or whatever. So no, they don't even know really what's going on.
Their perception is reality or isn't real.
Their perception is things disappear from the bottom up, which is ridiculous.
Did you not? Fuck. Did you when I think it was Sean made a brilliant point. He's asking. Sean Huffer was asking, well, where in this equation for perspective is this particular variable for height and stuff? And my friend Tiffany had actually sent me a PDF, which anybody asked before, I'll send it to you. It's about optics, and one of the formulas in there, which I don't think it was the same one that he.
The Fermat's principle.
But there's nothing. This is all a PDF on slides and optics. There was no variable in there for what the hell he was talking about.
They have got rid of the variables. They have said that Fermat's principle is negligible, and he defines negligible as you don't even need it. So he throws it out. All anything that works against them, they've thrown out successfully without telling us, though. Which is ridiculous.
Yeah, that makes sense, and I was stunned when I was watching this debate. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah,
it's
ridiculous. I mean, who was it that explained the bending?
Rumpus did pretty good.
I don't think he was exactly talking about Fermat's principle, but he was.
No,
talking,
Paul's gone through it with Anthony.
Okay, because he was talking about Snell's law, right?
He was talking about Snell's law also being negligible.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what that even means.
Yeah. Well, he thinks the 7/6 radius of the Earth is like, it can't be changed to like 5/6, or he doesn't get what the whole equation is anyway. He doesn't get what that number is.
Well, you could stop. They don't understand equations.
Yeah, math is hard.
Yeah. Math is hard.
Yeah, but go for it.
I was going to ask, Len, how does that math seemingly come so easy to you? What superpower do you have that you are just like a mathematical, and I do mean this seriously, genius, because you are a mathematical genius by definition.
I mean, I think for me, I saw mathematics as a language and a means for communication.
I think.
Do you think it's
so? You might if you don't understand Korean, and you see Korean writing and hear it spoken, you're going to say, what is all that? Same thing with mathematics. There's a language involved in it, and it allows you to like any language, it has its advantages and disadvantages. But one of its great advantages is to express very, very rich concepts and to explore itself. And so that's, I think, as a kid, I enjoyed the fact that my brother taught me the trick of counting and being able to count to high numbers was an example where it was not the numbers that I was impressed with. It was the system of counting that really impressed me. So I think as a kid, I saw it's really the language of mathematics.
That's something you can't really impart that on somebody else. You're either born with that or not, right?
Yeah, because that's not me.
Well, or you either learn it or you don't.
You learn a little bit,
or I know who to talk to if I need to.
The hardest part of mathematics that I see, one of the harder things is memorizing the freaking rules. It's like, these things are operational things. These are, when you want to do a certain thing, you have to take certain steps to get what you wanted to go, and this requires certain procedural things, like especially calculus, and it's very difficult to remember what to do, especially when trigonometric stuff. Oh my god!
But someone might say learning all the rules of English with all of its inconsistencies is probably harder than learning the rules of algebra, for example.
I would agree with that.
Well, algebra,
at least with math,
not calculus.
At least with math, it's consistent. With
they don't have dialects.
Right.
English
with English.
Tell that to an algebraic topologist.
I have a 4E, except after C, except in a lot of cases.
Yeah, there's a lot of exceptions.
I think, and as a elementary school kid, I was actually furious with, the things like grammar being taught, because it was not consistent. I saw what I thought was the consistency in mathematics, but was disgusted with the English language and how it was being taught.
Yeah,
but I still think there has to be a natural.
English teacher never got along.
I still think there has to be a natural predisposition for mathematics of some kind.
I wonder somebody who has a predisposition to learning multiple languages would have an easier time with mathematics than a monolingual person.
My brother's fiance knows like 5 languages. She loves learning languages. My brother's fiance. They're married now. She's his wife. Anyway, so she also studies law. She also has an appreciation for math on top of that. And I think that you're probably correct in thinking that someone who's interested in learning multiple languages, because there's a lot of languages, when you're trying to figure out the interrelations between them, there is a kind of like formula there. Yeah. And mathematical aptitude kind of follows from that attitude.
There's also a real, I think, flaw in at least how mathematics is taught, at least in the United States, where we have so much emphasis for so many years on arithmetic, and that people don't actually get to do mathematics. And I think that's a mistake to put such a heavy. So it's like, for example, if you're in literature and for the for 10 years they force you just to print letters and do handwriting, and you somehow think language is all about handwriting and letters. It's like, well, yes, well that's like a fundamental baseline, but the expression, it goes well beyond it. Again, in mathematics, like a proof is like a short story, and so you got to get away from merely teaching people how to do long division and other boring things. In fact, I'd rather them say, okay, I'd rather a kid begin to rely on a calculator to do math and explore the expression of mathematics than the other way around.
Yeah, because it's Common Core.
Start teaching statistics in 4th grade. Hashtag.
Sure, exactly. At that point, when a politician makes a claim about something statistically, you might be able to consider the veracity of what's being said.
Yeah. Yeah.
Example. I think so I saw mathematics as a kid as a way of expressing concepts, particularly in this quest for learning how far away is the sun. When I learned that transit of Venus was critical in the measurement, I had to learn some trigonometry and other sorts of things, and that gave me a reason. Much like somebody might say, "Oh, there's a great novel. Let me learn Old English to be able to understand this novel." That was one of my motivations for math.
Hey, Landon, you want a good math joke that only you're going to understand?
Please.
Probably. Well, I mean, I'm not trying to be demeaning to people that are listening. I'm not all. People are like, look at Steve. He thinks somebody's idiots. No, it's just in here. I don't think anybody's understand this joke. But how about something like this? I just came up with the top of my head. Axiom of choice, Well-Ordering principle, or Zorn's lemma. Teach the controversy.
Sorry.
All right, a priest, a prostitute, and a horse go into a bar.
There you go.
I thought you would appreciate that joke I just came up with.
Yeah. Well, you should use that again. You should use that.
No, but who the hell's going to understand it?
Oh, well.
Okay, well. Somebody could steal that from me.
But it is, again, I think that was part of the...
You're going to write that down if you want me to steal it.
Yeah, axiom of choice, the well-ordering principle, or Zorn's lemma, teach the controversy. It's a mathematical thing because all three of them kind of don't really play well with each other, I guess, yes, when you're dealing with set theories, and it's like you choose one, you can't have the other, or this, and then the Gödel's incompleteness theorem and axiom of choice.
It'd be like saying relativity, quantum mechanics, and string theory teach the controversy.
Yeah, it's like all of them don't. They all great stuff, but they don't play well with each other for some reason. Yeah, kind of stuff. Good way of putting it.
All right, I see.
But he's a math guy, so I figured he'd get a math joke like that. Let me steal it from me. Go ahead. Stealing stuff is the highest form of flattery. I steal things all the time. Like names.
Tell that to the DCMA.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, you might like this, Landon.
Please.
Oh. I didn't want to interrupt.
No. Bye, Tony.
Go ahead. Oh, just this might be funny for you. One of the people we're talking to, this is one of his claims. The angular size of something is not the size of the angle.
That sounds like something Nathan. That sounds like Anthony Riley would say.
Angular size of something is not.
That's exactly who said it. Good job, man.
Not the size of the angle. What does the angle like get larger or smaller as it goes out? Or
hey, you know what? Your guess is as good as mine on this one. But
well, I mean, if space is non-Euclidean, and parallel lines eventually, let's say they meet because you're a negative square space, then there's something to be said for that.
Yeah,
he doesn't. Yeah, I think he confuses like the angle of for example, the angle from that subtends from your eye to like the difference between that and angular diameter and linear diameter and hypotenuse. He just seems to throw all these things together. Like, did you listen to Chris when his little narrative?
Yeah, well, he's using angles right now to measure this observation that he's using, and it's ridiculous the way he's doing it. He's like running down a measuring tape to a stick, and then he's just putting a flat, something flat underneath.
Well, you know that the angle comes up to 66.6, so clearly the
it's
aluminum.
satanic. Yeah, obviously, yeah.
Clearly.
Mm-hmm.
We love the
And
conspiracy.
well, one of the people there thinks the sun is really a hologram and the moon is a hologram. And well, actually, the
So
moon
where's
gets
the
its own
laser
light.
that's producing those
That's like
holograms?
Spirit and
They
Moon
don't
Group
know.
or-
No, they don't know where the projectors are. They're hiding it from us. Now, I was going to go in there and start saying that, pretend to be a flat earther and say that all the satellites up there are the projectors, and that's why we're going up there. We keep going up there to maintain the projectors.
Wouldn't that defeat the purpose, though? If we have the satellites actually up there, then rockets don't work in space. Why would they try to be convincing us that rockets don't work in space?
Some say it does, some say it don't. There's no cohesion with them.
So when Van Gogh, painted the moon pre-satellites, was he like anticipating the illusion, or?
Well, yeah, I think it was like that was just that was just like a first model. Now we've gone to we're past the beta stage.
Soliloquies in Shakespeare on the moon were because it's pre-satellite. Therefore, the projectors are something else. Or no. You just bring in aliens, right? It's aliens are projecting.
Yeah, well, so it was one person actually says that. Yeah, the aliens take care of the projectors.
But the sad thing is, reality is actually much more intriguing.
Hell yeah, it is.
Much more than these controversies. So it's like it's a question of why. Why is it important for them to?
Because they've failed in their education and they are starting to notice it, and they're getting bitter about it, and now they're going to make a club where everyone's smart.
Tony, I mean, think about this. Would you want to go into various hangouts where every time that you do, people point out you don't even have the most rudimentary understanding of basic maths or physics?
I know. That's what my comments to them. It's like it all actually validates their case. It almost it's like it makes them stronger.
But Tony, you know what would think about this? I really want you to follow this. If somebody like a flat earther, especially Nathan Oakley or Anthony Riley, well, he's just okay. Fuck Anthony Riley, but he sniped. Whatever.
He started sniping me all the time. Yeah, he sniped in yours too, probably.
Yeah, he did. He sniped Miles Davies out. Yeah. But we'll go with somebody like Jainism, or people don't believe him anyways. Nathan Oakley. But if one of those people said, you know what, I'm changing my channel and saying, look I was wrong. I fucked up. I don't believe in flat Earth any longer. They proved to me, reasonable doubt, or actually, you know what, certainty. We'll give it certainty that the Earth is not flat. It is round. And I'm going to fight now against flat Earthers. That person would be the most popular fucking financed person on the fucking internet.
I mean, it'd be something to see.
Okay, maybe not, but I mean, I tell you what, would support that.
Yeah, hell yeah. But see, we're dealing with egos that we haven't witnessed before. Like they have a way of. Yeah, it's some kind of. That's definitely psychological. They have a problem.
But Tony, do you know any ex-flat earthers? Because I've been trying to find an ex-flat earther to get their mindset.
You don't see when they finally turn back to globe, they disappear. They don't want to be,
That's probably true, right? You've never seen an outspoken flat earther. You see outspoken theist, the ex-theist, and outspoken the ex-creationist, but you don't see too many outspoken flat earthers. So there's a market for that. There's a market for that.
Just so that we don't actually go down the flat Earth rat hole.
You're right.
Too late.
I heard somebody
really have you been paying
use
attention?
the word maths, and I've used math.
I use
what
math.
do you think about math? When people talk about math,
I asked
versus
it.
Math. What do you think?
I asked the question because I thought it was weird sounding too. But then I was thinking we're talking to a bunch of people from England and stuff, and it's the way they talk. Like,
well, I mean, it is. I mean, certainly it is. Maths plural is common in places like Australia and.
Yeah, I thought they were talking crap.
Hang on a second.
I thought they were just using it.
Maths, like maths.
Yes. Yeah.
That's how I use it. I say maths, but I'm chastised for it. They're like, you're American, you can't say maths. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. See,
but I generally tend to say
maths, it works. Yeah, it sounds like we're talking shit.
Yeah,
I just don't like using it as plural because that means there's more of it.
Well, it's like
right.
but the word monies, right? I've used monies in certain specific contexts, right? It's a valid
euro and a dollar, maybe.
But money is plural in itself. But monies is a specific type of plural meaning of funds, right? I don't have enough monies to finance this.
Yeah.
I say coin instead of monies.
Yeah.
Well, you're
I
pagan.
say Fedia. No.
So is it mathematics is fun or mathematics are fun?
Right.
Mathematics is fun. Mathematics is
Oh,
a thing
what
of
did
genius.
Nathan say? That was fun. Never mind, man. You don't want to talk about flat Earth, man.
It might have an S, but it's not. It's not referring to. It's referring to one single group as a whole. I would look at. What is this? I was not told that rum and coconut would be tested on in linguistics
And
stuff.
if I was to say to you guys, that distance is 10,000 kilometers per mile. Does that sound
What?
weird to you? That would
Kilometers
sound
per
weird to you,
mile?
right? Yeah. That would sound
Kilometers
weird,
per
right?
mile? Yeah.
Kilometers per mile.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's you. It's not. It's not like it's something that's like
That's what Nathan
invalid,
said.
right? It's not.
That's what Nathan
It sounds
said.
awkward. You try not to mix.
Well, it's not 10,000 kilometers. It's about 1.6. It's like saying 12 inches per foot.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. But yeah, see, I'm gonna
I
start.
was going 13 inches per foot, so I guess I was going faster.
Well, your king has a bigger foot than Mike.
Yeah.
So.
I tell you what. How about
You
this?
betcha.
Funny, we'll do this. I'm gonna start a new channel. We'll call it. We'll come up with a creative name. You or I could be an ex-flat earther now on the road to enlightening, enlightenment of other people and explaining to people how much our story, how we progressed through the flat earther thing. And dude, I'm telling you, it would be golden.
Prior to 20 months old, I thought the Earth was flat.
Yeah, well, hey, we're not all perfect.
I never considered it until I never considered flat Earth period, but it never even something would have come into mind to be even considered until I ran into my first flat earther on YouTube. I was like, really? What? Huh? No,
The first time, yeah.
You don't think as a little kid you thought the Earth was flat?
No, I don't think I ever did. I've seen it first thing, this whole narrative when you're indoctrinated with the round Earth. Well, yeah, it's not indoctrination, but I remember seeing spheres and
yeah.
globes.
Well, I went to elementary school in Hawaii and on the Big Island, and we have to go up a hill. And school's at the top, but we would take field trips to the top of the mountain where the observatory is.
Wait, where in Hawaii were you?
Oh, the Big Island.
Where in the Big Island, if I may ask?
Waimea.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I went to my school was in Waimea. I used to paddle for Kauai High.
Oh, yeah. Great stuff.
Yeah.
All right, we got so much blue in live chat. I'm just making everybody a fucking moderator pretty much at this point.
But our teacher was like really good teachers. Like they would say, look at Maui, you're going to see more of it the higher we go up on this mountain. And,
yes.
And sure enough, yeah. But I was like 9 then.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time, maybe not as much as you, but a lot of time in Waimea. That's where the Keck control center is as well.
Oh, okay.
There's some great restaurants there.
No, see, I was young, so I don't remember. I just remember surfing and fishing and canoeing a lot.
Yes, I say, and I love. I mean, most of the time I'm doing work down at the Volcano National Park there, but
yeah, I was there when it first started. When it first started erupting.
January 4th, 1983.
Yeah, they moved that white chapel. I remember that was a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would not want to be volcanologist. Those guys are, oh my god, that takes balls.
I say I only get to sort of play that sort of thing, but yes,
I'm not even saying anything.
It's
explain lava on a flat Earth.
Yeah, dude. I wasn't talking.
Well, it's that the Earth is bleeding. See, the elephants are bleeding. The elephants holding up the disc.
Well, yeah, you're right. Yeah, elephants were different back then.
The elephants were different back then.
So I say for rum and coke night, I just don't have any Coca-Cola because that's just not my drink of choice. But
rum and coke night, you can drink whatever you want. It just started off. It started off being rum and coke because that's the first thing I had. The name just stuck.
Ah, okay.
It didn't have to be rum and coke. You could drink water for all I care.
Yeah, rum and coke night is just all right. You have a beverage.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly.
Bring out the beverage.
Yeah. Actually, I need to go get another one. My wife's been in Chicago doing an opening, so I got to pick her up in the morning at the airport.
Okay, so I'm doing Smokehead single malt Scotch.
I'm doing rubbing alcohol with no. I'm doing
I'm doing Tide Pods with bleach.
Dude, what's up with that, guys? What's up with this?
Yeah, what is this? What is this thing about people drinking bleach for medicine?
It's just the Tide Pods.
Wait,
Well,
is that just a troll, or is that really real?
No, it's real.
It's a fad. Yeah, this one guy has a tattoo of a Tide Pod. He's like, it says
I've seen Tide Pod porn now.
Parents were giving kids bleach. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy. They're cleaning out their insides. It's just the use.
It was the cleanest pornography I'd ever seen.
I know. But
I was expecting a dirty video, but I didn't see a dirty video.
Because it was bleach. Wait, is there bleach in there? No, it was fabric softening though. But they got what's that? There's some church though, or like cult that's like feeding their parishioners bleach and saying it's curing cancer. But they're making them pay for the bleach. It's all it is bleach. It's somewhere in Nigeria or something. Anyways,
so yeah, how did that meme get started? With the drinking
Tide
bleach
Pod challenge. Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Challenge, I think. I have no clue. People are doing it though. Kids are going to the hospital. I mean, I did dumb stuff when I was young, but God, I wouldn't poison myself. I wouldn't poison myself with something that wasn't fun to poison myself with.
I don't can imagine Tide Pods even tasting good.
Well, it's got that little dissolvable pouch, so I mean, you swallow the whole thing.
No, you don't. Do you?
Yeah, you gotta chew it.
Oh, you bite it.
Really? Oh God, I don't even know what's going on.
Really? Wow.
I never watched anybody to do it, so I don't know. Wow.
God, maybe we should look at it real quick. No.
There's been a lot of
officially
videos
discourages
uploaded.
people from drinking.
Oh no, do you?
No, it doesn't.
There's been a lot of what? A lot of the news.
Don't fucking lie in here.
Tony, the other day I was in a hangout and I was exposed to something that once you're aware of, your life will never be the same. I never knew this existed, and I swear to God, I could have gone the rest of my life not knowing. But it's on YouTube, and this is a real thing. It's called the "What's Up in My Butt" challenge.
Oh my God! What? Someone put something up their butt, and you got to guess what it is.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my God!
I am not. I watched it. I literally had to reformat my hard drive after I.
Yeah, you don't want that going on. Oh my
Get
God!
rid of all trace evidence.
Right, but some of the if I hear something I gotta look at, I'm like, no way. Even if I don't care how crazy it is. The first time I heard two girls in one cup, I thought that was like something weird.
So if you say large intestines, do you win?
Yeah, right. That's the first thing I do.
That's funny.
Oh, Apollo. I'm 40. I gotta go get mine. No, I'm not even gonna say it.
By the way, Steve, I watched the show where you invited Red Eye on to troll the troll, and man, that was that was
great.
I missed that.
That was Rose Patton. Yeah.
Oh, who was trolling? Okay.
I love Red Eye.
Red Eye was trolling someone.
Oh, Red Eye is a superhero. That Red Eye is so underrated. He has got so much potential.
Yes.
Why does he not have his own channel?
I mean, he's been talking about it, but he loves helping and supporting other people. So
I know he does, but I want to help. I want to return the favor. I want to help him.
Well, it would help if he had a channel, and then he could really help and support people.
Oh my God, I just have.
Yeah, that was brilliant. I was just.
Red Eye
was
says.
It wow, at Young Earth Correction?
Rose is my equal, he says. You know what? They make a cute couple, maybe. Rose isn't too hard on the eyes.
Yeah.
I know she looks.
I have no idea what she looks like.
Oh, I do. She's okay. Yeah. I was giving her. She was all happy the other day, and the first thing I said to her, "What happened? You got laid?" She's like, "Maybe." I'm like, "Okay." Yeah, good for you, girl. but she's going to be talking to
Yeah.
Shannon. I think on Thursday we planned it, didn't we? What day is next? Let's talk about you with Shannon Q. Let me look on my calendar here. That's going to be epic.
So Steve, do you
Are
typically
you doing
have
that with
a-
Rose?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think it's Thursday. Would you ask?
I was just asking Steve if you typically like have kind of a topic you guys like to go over on Hangouts, or if you kind of just wing it.
Well, it depends. We'll have a topical one, like we have the "Let's Talk About You" with Shannon Q, where Shannon will have a conversation with particular video, or like Landon will have talk about the eclipse. We'll be like, this is the topic. We have one on what is DNA code not too long ago.
Yeah.
We usually topical, but I try to get a mixture in. I want some to be very topical. And then we like Rum and Coke night is when basically we just say fuck it, talk, do whatever you want, talk, have fun.
This is event night.
So back, as I say, speaking again, you're saying talking about Red Eye. He actually is a brilliant guy, and I'm amazed because I've taught him about various items, and I'm just amazed at how fast he can pick stuff up. He really is actually quite sharp dude. So.
And yes, it is my birthday tomorrow, so Richard Carrier is going to be out.
So what time zone are you in?
Pacific.
I mean, what time time zone you're born? What time were you born? So.
Oh.
So it's like an hour and a half to when we could sing "Happy Birthday" to you.
Oh, I won't be on air by then, anyways.
Oh.
Yeah. We're about ready to wrap this up. I think actually I don't want to wake my my roommates. But
yeah, you don't want to be a crazy roommate now.
Well, by the way, it's your birthday in Australia, so Red Eye can.
I'm the crazy roommate now. Don't you know that? Come on. Not by my roommate. Not by my roommates. My roommates love me, but I'm the crazy one. So.
Yeah, well, happy pending birthday.
We are going to have a night. I don't know if we're going to do this in the podcast or my room, but I'm going to be reading the letters of my crazy roommate on air as a episode or
that's good times.
Oh, Tony.
Goddamn.
Into the mind of a maniac.
That might be my most popular shit ever. It is. I don't even know how to explain this stuff. It's bizarre as fuck.
Yeah, I like when crazy people write. I used to be crazy, and I like my writing then. So
he has one letter, and let me give you a backstory on this. What he would do is he would write letters to the courthouse, addressed to the judge, quote, and I mean this, the judge, THE judge, right? No name, just the courthouse, and put the judge on it. And they all got sent back to our house because they were ex parte, right? And most of them were opened. Some of them were returned unopened, but the one that they had read, the first thing he talks about is, "Dear Judge, all the California fires we were having were, in California lately, blah, blah, blah." And he started going to talk about the situation about us trying to evict him. But the first thing he was talking about was fire. And I'm like, this is some really crazy stuff. Why is he telling the judge about all the fires that are going on in California? I mean, is he considering creating another one and burning down the house?
Or is he the originator of it?
Wow.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that.
No.
Yeah, is it confessing? But I am going to read all those letters on air, or a lot of those letters on air.
So are we permitted to ask how old you will be tomorrow?
You can ask me anything you like. Doesn't mean I'm going to tell you.
How old?
I am 48.
Are you going to be a prime number old?
48 is not a prime number.
Oh.
Even I can figure that out.
41. I mean, the reason to be 40 is so you can be 41. Because 41 is a twin prime with 43. So.
But I'm 41. Oh, I'm 41 and 7, and those are both primes.
You're 7. What in
no, 41 plus 7, right?
Oh well, 47 is prime.
Yeah, well, 41 and 7 is a prime. 41 is a prime, and you add them together, you get 48. So I just splitting them down. Don't make me do math.
Sorry, I thought you said 40 and 47. 40.
We're just discussing how much Steve hates math.
Yeah, and you're the one that said you're a prime number, so stop. No.
I'm not a prime number. I'm prime beef.
Prime beef, baby.
Now here's the thing. If you guys want, hang on. If you guys want to continue this on the other channel, Ocean, be my guest. I know Landon likes to talk. If you guys want to go over there after I end this, be my guest. Knock yourself out. Up to you guys.
So 40.
Well, Landon, you could start one too. Landon, you have mods, don't you? Over on the other channel. Landon?
Do I have mods? I don't know if I have mods, creation mods on the other channel, but
oh, shit.
I don't know how to If I
Oh,
do,
you
I
don't
don't
know
know how to use them. So
Oh, you're a Luddite.
I'm just a follower.
Yeah, I gotta go.
But anyway,
to
but do
Just want to say hi.
do have a happy birthday and enjoy.
Thank you. I do appreciate it.
What time of the day were you born? Do you know?
I, you know, for some reason I want to say 1 a.m., but I don't remember.
Were you born in the Pacific time zone, or were you born in another time zone?
Oh, I was born in L.A.
Oh, so okay. So yeah, why don't you show up? I mean, I stay up to 47 minutes after midnight for mine. So.
Now I got some TV I want to watch. Not that I love you. I don't love you all.
I need to go to bed too. I'm tired.
37, but I started coming out in 37 minutes and ended at 47 minutes. So.
A nice little 10-minute gap.
Well, I mean, in terms of when the first part of me came out of my mom to the I was 10 minutes. I don't know. So when are you born? Is it when you begin to stick out, or when you've already or already?
When you take your first breath, maybe.
Yeah, just like a metaphysical question. When did you start to exist? You know, at conception.
There's some people that will get tied up in a bag on their birthday, and then they got to break out of it.
Well, I do know that I was first aware of my existence when I was about 16 months old. It was actually quite upsetting. I mean, I do remember when I first became self-aware.
Well,
and it pissed me off.
Yeah, but Landon, you gotta remember, your brain doesn't work like most people's.
Yeah, the first I remember. What do I remember?
Who the hell's smarter that we know than Landon? I mean, there's a few people that are
Santa Claus, I think.
But I don't know anybody with 8 world records in math besides Landon.
But that's just something to do. But anyway, yes. What's your earliest memory?
I was 18. God. I just sobered up from a party at high school.
The earliest, I remember this. The earliest memory I have is I was having a lucid dream, actually. Was that the earliest? I don't know. I remember looking out my window, and there was this weird cartoon that was going on the bottom across in flowers. And I don't know how old I was in that. But I just remember seeing a bunch of these weird. Now I look back at it like a cartoon, but yeah, that's about it. I don't remember anything prior to that, I don't think.
Between 3 and 4, I think. I don't know. I've done my fair share of acid, so I could be wrong.
Yeah. So when I was 3, my older brother was really teasing me in a very mean way, and my uncle. Yeah, I was actually quite upset about the whole thing. And my uncle sat me down and tried to calm me down. One of the things he calmed me down is saying, don't feel so bad, because your life isn't ruined. You'll forget this the next day. I said, by the time my age, you'll never knew this happened. And I was a stubborn enough SOB that I said, damn if I'm going to forget this. And I purposely sat down and remembered. And when you're 3, you can remember stuff back to 1. And so I just started saying on a regular basis, remembering things. And I held on that memory, including what my brother did. By the way, he's my best friend, so he feels bad about what he did. But you can, as I say, I'm to those little kids out there that might be watching Rum and Coke Night.
Yeah, because I have so many.
If you rehearse them, you can retain.
Are you saying that my people that are watching, they're all a bunch of little kids?
Some of them might be.
Steve, to be fair,
this has probably shown up on somebody's YouTube play. They've just handed the phone to their kids, and they're just like, "Fucking watch whatever you want."
I was just gonna say, he just knows the great community really well at this point.
Yeah, tread carefully, Steve. This could turn into another attack.
Well, what sounds to me, Landon, is that your brother pretty much gave you the fundamentals of the way you.
Yes.
Use your brain.
I mean, he taught me how to count, and he taught me he thought his job was to teach me, and I really benefited from that. So,
Landon, have you ever had something that was completely forgotten, but all of a sudden it comes back to you, and you're like, oh shit, and it's like you haven't thought about that since the incident, or something that happened.
Yeah, there's been a bunch of things on the farm I remembered that.
I had that happen not too long ago. A girl that I've known since high school that has been on my Facebook for a long time, and she was
Something-
talking. She was talking about like her and I in a sauna going at it one night, and I was like, I don't remember this. I go, I remember making out with and even like doing some sexual stuff with some chicks in saunas. I go, but I never did anything with you. And she's like, oh my God, Steve, I'm so hurt because that was like the first time I'd done it with certain things, and I was like, I don't freaking remember. And then she said something that jarred my memory. I go, oh fuck, I do remember. That was you. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
That was you.
That was you. That's not good.
Wait.
Remember that thing I did with my tongue? Remember?
Wait. And she's like, yeah. Then she's like, the next day we were we ran into the bank and we didn't really know what to say to each other. And she's like, I was kind of hoping you'd take me to the prom, and I wasn't sure if you still liked me after all that. And I was thinking to myself, I remember this, that I was thinking here's this chick. She regrets what she did and she feels guilty. And so here's my advice to people: don't jump to conclusions because it cost you because
you might fuck them in a sauna.
But why didn't you go to the prom with her?
Because when we ran into each other at the bank, I was thinking that she had regretted it and that she was being distant. She thought that I that I regretted it and that I didn't. I just like wasn't, didn't want to do that stuff with her again. And she really liked me, and I remember now I really liked her. She was super cute, but we were so shy we didn't know how to handle it. And so instead of talking about it, we both kind of jumped to erroneous conclusions. And my advice to people is don't fucking jump to conclusions.